The NFL's ultimate anomaly is the Buffalo Bills quarterback. In a land of giants, Doug Flutie may look out of place, but that just makes him even more extraordinary.
There's the snap to Flutie, and he runs to the right, a run to the 20, to the 15, the 10, the 5. Flutie's in for the touchdown.
Wins and losses. That's all I've ever looked at.
A block by Flutie, unbelievable block by Flutie.
You're trying to win a game any way it takes. I think my job as a quarterback is to make good decisions and put us in a position to have an opportunity to win.
Here's Flutie backpedaling in the pocket, lets it fly, and it is caught in the end zone for a touchdown.
Now Dan Marino and the unbeaten Dolphins are next up for Buffalo.
This one will let us know where we stand. How far do we have to go to be where we want to be, or are we there?
It's a litmus test for Doug Flutie and the Buffalo Bills as they meet the Miami Dolphins. This ongoing AFC East rivalry continues tonight on ABC's Monday Night Football. There he goes. There he goes. There he goes. Well, it's time to blast off and get underway. The NFL's best are ready to play. Last year, the Bills let the big one get away. Now they'll go again for Dolphin filet. You better be ready. Strap in and hold tight. Buffalo stampedes into Miami tonight. Hit it. Come on and hit it. Come on and get ready. Are you ready for some football? A Monday night party. Yeah, it's a Super Bowl season. 30 years and still rocking. Al and Boomer are set. The crowd is psyched. All my rowdy friends are here for Monday night. That's right. It is hot and sticky in South Florida. Temperature about 80. Humidity in the 80s. Pro Player Stadium is sold out. Fireworks exploding as the Dolphins get set to host the Buffalo Bills. Al Michaels with Boomer Esiason and Leslie Visser. The Buffalo Bills began the season on a down note, losing to Indianapolis, but have played very well the last 2 weeks, knocking off the Jets in Philadelphia. And their defense has not allowed a touchdown for 9 quarters. We'll find out just how good they are tonight. And hopefully the lights will stay on in the stadium tonight, which they are. The Miami Dolphins, on the other hand, are a team that's started the year with a victory over the Denver Broncos and then knocked off Arizona. So they come in 2-0 in this crazy NFL season when nobody knows who's great and who's not so great. The Dolphins might be the best team in the league, at least in the opinion of many, and maybe Dan Marino finally gets back to a Super Bowl. It's Miami and Buffalo from Florida.
This game can be heard using the SAP feature on your TV set where available. Brought to you by National Car Rental.
We're back, and we've all heard about the night the lights went out in Georgia, but they went out in our booth in Florida tonight, Boomer. As we take a look at Doug Flutie, the one thing about Flutie, it's always a treat to see him. Doug will be 37 at the end of the month, and what a miracle comeback last year.
Al, he's terrific. He's the master of improvisation. It's all about adjusting and improvising, and that's exactly what you learned tonight as we open.
Yes.
He is a terrific inspiration. He shows his players how to get it done. Not only has he inspired his players, he's inspired the entire city of Buffalo. And really right now tonight, he's going to face a defense that's going to be in his face, and it's going to take some miracle plays by Doug Flutie to win this game.
Well, Dan Marino has been an inspiration to his fans and to his Dolphin teammates through the years, if indeed, Boomer, he is to get back to the Super Bowl. Though this year, a la Elway, the last 2 years in Denver, it won't be a one-man show.
Well, this is certainly not the glory years of the Miami Dolphin offense the way it used to be. Jimmy Johnson likes to win with defense. He wants to win 21-17, 17-10. That's what he would love to do and run the football. He's basically taken the pressure off of Dan Marino, and he has one of the best defenses in football, led by Zach Thomas, his monster middle linebacker, and his two outstanding cornerbacks, Terrell Buckley and Sam Madison.
So with our designer lighting in the booth, but the regular foot candles in play out on the field. A look at Miami on Monday night. The Bills and the Dolphins on Monday Night Football.
ABC Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Crowd settling in here in South Florida. Let's go down to the sidelines now. And Leslie Visser. Hi, Leslie.
Hey, Al. Hi, Boomer. As you guys know, the Dolphins had an extra week to prepare for one of their great rivals. How are you going to handle Eric Moulds and Andre Reed single coverage?
Well, in single coverage, of course, we got our hands full, and Moulds showed that in the playoff game last year. But we've got, a half a dozen different ways we're going to do it. Zone, man, double him a little bit, roll up on him. So we got a bunch of different ways we're going to try to defend him.
And what is the key offensively? You always stress the Dolphins are going to run the ball.
Yeah, we've got to be patient with the run. Those 3- and 4-yarders in the first quarter might turn into 6- and 7-yarders in the fourth quarter.
Well, thank you, Jimmy. Good luck to you. And as you know, the field here is the actual Super Bowl field. It is the sod that was the Super Bowl. It was replaced.
And Leslie, we heard most of that, and I think it will work, obviously, to the advantage of the players, because, and not only that, but also it's aesthetically a heck of a lot nicer than it was a week ago when the Marlins were still playing.
So it's the '95 Super Bowl turf. Where has it been for the last 4 years?
It's been
sod stud, or what's going on?
That's right, at a sod farm in Ocala. Here is Steve Christie to kick off for Buffalo. And it's taken at the 1-yard line. This is Jerry Wilson, who plays in their nickel and dime defensive packages, taking it back up to the 22-yard line. And that's where the Dolphins will begin this drive with Dan Marino in the class of '83. So here is Dan in season 17. Has not been to the Super Bowl since his second year, the 1984 campaign, when they wound up losing to San Francisco in Palo Alto. The backs and receivers, Abdul-Jabbar starts. Conrad, good-looking rookie from Syracuse. Martin and McDuffie outside, and Drayton is the tight end. And a very experienced offensive line. Webb, Gogan, Ruddy, Donnelly, and Brown. From the 21-yard line on first down, they begin with Abdul-Jabbar, one of 3 running backs. You will see a lot of action tonight. The ball comes loose, but we heard whistles, and the play was whistle dead. His forward progress was stopped, so there's no fumble. Wade Phillips already disgusted over that call, what he felt was an early whistle.
Coaches are always disgusted over calls.
Well, not Jimmy with that, because Richmond Webb is hurt. The left tackle is on the grass right now as we look at the defense for Buffalo. Hanson, Washington, and Bruce Smith. They play a 3-4. Rogers, Hollisek, Howard, and Northern are the linebackers, and the secondary, Irvin and Smith, Jones and Scholes.
One of the things right now that the Dolphins could ill afford is losing Richmond Webb. They're already thin on their offensive line. They're missing their best offensive lineman, according to the Dolphins, number 63, Mark Dixon. You can take a look right here. This is the fumble, and they've already said that his forward progress was stopped, and we saw from up here the official on the sideline pointing to the ground, indicating that he was down. So this is a correct call by the officials. But going back to the injury, Al, they're very thin on the offensive line. Really only 2 backups coming into this game, so they got to be hoping that this is not too serious.
Well, Mark Dixon is already out. He's been splitting time with Donnelly. Now there's Webb. Webb signed late. There's Dixon. So Webb comes off. We'll check on his status. And Brent Smith comes in to spell him.
And the interesting thing that the Dolphins did for this game, they moved Kevin Gogan, who was alternating with Donnelly at right guard, over to left guard, for the sheer fact of having a tough player with a reputation in front of Bruce Smith on that left side. There he is, Kevin Gogan, one of the nastier players in all of the National Football League.
Renowned. Second down and 8 from the 23-yard line. Marino. Pocket breaks down. He tries to shovel it ahead to Abdul-Jabbar, and that's an incomplete pass. John Hollisek put the pressure on along with Rogers.
You can see when Holisek, number 52, is coming, it's a blitz by the linebacker. They double team Bruce Smith on the left side, and that leaves the guys on the other side. Phil Hansen, Holisek, all of these guys, Ted Washington in the middle, singled up. And you can see right there, Jabbar does not make the block. And Holisek avoids him and forces Marino to get rid of the ball quickly. But a smart play by an older quarterback. Try not to take the sack. Don't worry about your completion percentage. Just keep your team in good field position and give yourself an opportunity to make a first down.
And he does. It's 3rd down and 7 with the ball at the 24-yard line. Marino out of the shotgun. The Bills rush 4. And the pass is too high, intended for the fullback Pritchett. So the Dolphins have a 3-and-out and an injured Richmond Webb in an inauspicious beginning to this game.
Not the way you want to start, Al. And we talked about at the top of the show that this is not a Dolphin offense that we remember. The high-flying circus catches, balls down the sideline. They're still capable of doing that, but that's not the type of game that Jimmy Johnson wants to play. So if they get in 3rd and long, it's going to be tough for them to make first downs.
Tommy Hutton is the just signed punter, the Philadelphia veteran who replaces the injured Brent Bartholomew, and his first kick is a duck that goes out of bounds at the Buffalo 41-yard line. So now Flutie getting last-minute instructions from the offensive coordinator. Joe Pendry comes in. Doug, the Heisman Trophy winner in 1984 at Boston College, had that miracle moment just down the road at the Orange Bowl against the Hurricanes in November of '84. Smith and Gash in the backfield. Moulds and Reed outside. Remersma is the tight end. The offensive line, Fina, Reuben Brown, Ostrowski, Ziegler, and Hicks. Brown earlier in the week with a hamstring pull was questionable, but in there he's a Pro Bowler, 3-time Pro Bowler, starting tonight. Out of the eye on first down, and Flutie going right to the air, improvising, throws on the run, finds the open man. That's Remersma, who gets taken down to the 35. So Flutie works some early magic.
You know, the thing about Doug Flutie, when you watch the Buffalo Bills on 1st and 2nd down, when he's underneath center, they will use the outer part of the field because he has better sight vision. When there's crossing pattern in the middle, he might lose the guy in the middle because he won't be able to find him. So he has to move to find those zones and find those holes, and that's exactly what he did right there.
Buffalo with a first down at the 35-yard line. On the ground, it's Antoine Smith. Big hole to the outside, gaping, and it's a 20-yard pickup as Smith takes the ball to the 15-yard line, tripped up by Calvin Jackson. And Sam Gash, one of the reasons Gash went to the Pro Bowl last year as the fullback was the type of block that he threw on that play to help spring him.
The interesting thing, too, Al, is that he was asked to block Zach Thomas.
And he did. Mixon, Bowens, Gardner, and Taylor up front for Miami. Rodgers, Thomas in the middle, and Jones, the linebackers. Buckley and Madison will have their hands full tonight. Jackson and Marion are the safeties. And look at this as they line up 4 receivers to the left side. In the most unusual set you'll ever see, and he comes back the other way and nearly has it picked off by Zach Thomas.
The interesting thing, Al, one of the reasons you would do that is you want to try to confuse the young defense and create matchups. He was looking for Eric Moulds out here one-on-one against Terrell Buckley, and Terrell did a great job of holding him up at the line of scrimmage. Doug had to come off of him and start looking for his other receivers, but as I alluded to before, when he's in the pocket, at times he'll have trouble seeing down the middle of the field, so he'll have a tendency to work to the outside. And that time Zach Thomas read his eyes and made a break on the ball.
Thomas hanging in there despite Flutie stepping left and throwing right. Jonathan Linton is in the game as the sole setback, and that's Linton with the ball. In his second year out of North Carolina, picks up 2, and Thomas goes to the far sideline to make that play. Zach all over the joint early.
Most coaches around the league will tell you that the key to the Dolphin defense to be able to run against them is to get somebody on Zach Thomas. Those 2 big tackles inside, Tim Bowens and Daryl Gardner, do such a great job of holding up the offensive linemen and to keep them from getting up to him. And he's one of the best tacklers in all of football, and he showed it right there.
The report on Richmond Webb, bruised left knee, expected to return. 3rd down and 7 from the 12. And this play is whistled dead before its inception. There was movement up front, whistled dead, and you can see the Dolphins indicating illegal procedure, which it will be. Referee tonight is Bill Carollo. Full start.
Prior to the snap, false start. Right guard, offense. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Now this is the situation for the Dolphin defense. The defensive linemen have to be strong in their, you can see the movement right here. Just a little lift up like that. They're going to call you on that, but they have to be disciplined in their rush lanes. They cannot allow Doug Flutie to break, contain, and make those special plays happen. I'm sure it's been drilled into their head all week long. Keep this guy in the pocket.
3rd and 12. With Reimers in motion, and Flutie a little dump off to Linton, who has blocking, and Linton takes the ball to the 8-yard line, but he is shy of the 1st down. Sean Wooden makes the tackle. Needed 12, got about 9, and Steve Christie will come in to try to give them the early lead.
It's a nice tackle by Sean Wooden that time. There's Thurman Thomas. You can see some of the numbers he's put up through his career. He's out with a bruised liver, I believe it is, right?
On the very first play of the season, he was hurt against Indianapolis, and they expect him back in about another month.
There's that little screen pattern. You could see Zach Thomas and Sean Wooden together.
26-yard field goal attempt by Christie is good, as the Bills get on the board early here in Miami. 4 minutes, 14 seconds into the game. Buffalo ahead 3-0. The Miami Dolphins 2-0 coming off a bye week. They haven't played in 15 days.
And that's a long layoff for a football team. And when you look at their game 2 weeks ago against Arizona, they didn't play particularly well, especially on offense. Defensively, they did some nice things, but offensively, they didn't do anything.
Just one offensive touchdown and won the game 19-16. Christie's kick bobbled at the goal line, and then Wilson dropping it at the 1-yard line, has to come out with it and brings it back to the 21. ABC brings you interactive TV for Monday Night Football. While watching this telecast, you can log on to ESPN.com or NFL.com with your computer and try out ABC's enhanced TV coverage. Dan Marino.
You know, everybody wondered whether or not Dan Marino and Jimmy Johnson could coexist down here, and Jimmy bringing his tough-nosed brand of football, kind of taking the ball out of Dan's hand a little bit. But in speaking to Dan over the years, he said, and there's Richmond Webb, he's back on the field, as long as Jimmy Johnson and I win together, it doesn't matter. I'm tired of losing. I want to get a chance to get back to the Super Bowl, and Jimmy Johnson gives me that best opportunity.
First down at the 21-yard line. And that is caught by McDuffie, who picks up 5. And Boomer, to me, it's very similar to the Elway situation. John, in effect, became America's quarterback. I mean, if you love football, you were just very happy for John that he won his Super Bowl, then he won it again. And now Marino is really America's quarterback at the end of his career. Can he get back? And right now, he might be playing for the best team in the league.
Well, I mean, defensively, he's playing for the best team in the league, or close to it. I mean, Tampa's pretty close. They got a pretty good defense out there. Indianapolis got a much better defense, and so does San Diego. But offensively, they're still not right. There's something missing right here.
2nd down and 5. And this is Abdul-Jabbar. One of the things that's missing is the type of running game that
every quarterback would love to have. Yes.
The Mets lead the Reds 5-0. The winner, of course, advances to the divisional playoffs. That's in the 7th inning. And we'll keep you abreast of that one.
For all the things that Danny Marino has done for the NFL, I mean, truly all of us would love to see him win the Super Bowl, and he is certainly deserving of that. He's been a great player for so long. I just wish he'd have more opportunities to be the player that he once was, and I think that has been something that has happened to him.
3rd and 6. And that is incomplete. It would have been a first down. He tries to get it into McDuffie, who went down to the ground, covered by Ken Irvin. So again, the Dolphins are 3-0, 2 series in a row.
Well, we saw them in Denver 2 weeks ago. They looked good offensively. In the beginning, they struggled a little bit, but then they got it on going. And right there, that's a ball that McDuffie's got to make the catch. He usually makes the catch on that. The field is wet. The balls are slick. Extra concentration required.
Here's Hutton now. Tommy just signed Boone's one to the 25-yard line. Kevin Williams almost broke it, brings it back to the 40. Tackled there by Sean Wooden. 8:58 left in the opening quarter in Miami. Flutie and the Bills. 2 guys in their advancing 30s, yet for Doug Flutie, his first start on Monday Night Football. For Dan Marino, nobody's made more. 36 starts on Monday Night Football. That's the equivalent of 2 1/3 seasons.
Well, it just goes to show you how big a story is. I think I had 3 maybe. I don't know.
Doug Flutie, who's been around since '85, but he's been all over the joint. Gives the ball to Smith. Remember, with Doug Flutie, he won the Heisman, but then he signed with the USFL, played with New Jersey, went to the Chicago Bears for a couple of years, then to New England for 3, then to Canada, British Columbia, Calgary, and Toronto, and then back to Buffalo. And everybody said, Doug Flutie, didn't he retire 10 years ago?
Why would you sign a guy like that? Well, he's a much more mature player than he was then. I think he understands the game better because of his time in Canada, and certainly seems so much more poised now than when he was then. When he was breaking the pocket back then, it was like helter-skelter and scattered. Now it's with purpose.
2nd and 6 and a fumble, and Flutie trying to get to the ball but can't. The Dolphins get the game's first big break. It's recovered by Sean Wooden. He was down. He thought he wasn't, but contact was made. Miami will get the ball at the 41-yard line.
And that play didn't look good from the beginning. It looked like they were confused. It looked like Remus Murr was in the wrong spot. Doug had to move him over. He was trying to audible, and all of a sudden he and the center just didn't connect. Doug pulled out a little bit too early. You have to ride the center, especially when the ball is wet and the field is wet. That ball's not going to be as tacky tonight as it usually is. And you got to get into that center, and you got to stay with him, and you got to ride him.
Wade Phillips, the last time he was in Miami, that's what killed this team. Turnovers in the wild card game, which Miami won 24-17. Buffalo that day turned the ball over 5 times, including once with 9 seconds to play in the game, and that was that. From the 41-yard line, Marino throws out pattern to the great-looking rookie Rob Conrad, who gets free down the sideline to the 16. Conrad out of Syracuse has won the starting job, has taken it away from Stanley Pritchett.
Al, you hear so much about this running game in Miami. Forget that. Let him throw the football, and you could see it off the play action. But he still has the quickness. He still has the accuracy with the ball. Look at this, a nice, pretty spiral. Throws it right out to Conrad. And Jimmy Johnson was telling us that Conrad reminds him a lot of Moose Johnston down in Dallas. He's not the blocker that he is, but he certainly has good hands like Moose has.
Picked in the 2nd round out of Syracuse from the 16-yard line. A little toss back to J.J. Johnson, another rookie. Johnson also picked in the 2nd round out of Mississippi State. Polasek getting into it up front with Kevin Gogan.
What else is new is right. I love playing with guys like that. Guys like that are in your face. They're just antagonizing everybody. They're pushing, they're shoving, they're doing other things under the pile that I'm not allowed to tell you about. But those are the type of guys you want in your huddle.
Kind of like the Conrad Dobler of the 90s, huh?
That's exactly right. Take a look at this. I mean, this guy is just not going to take any guff from anybody.
The Polasek has him by the face mask.
Well, you know, the Bills know that coming in, too, that Gogan can be a hothead. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to goad him along a little bit right now.
2nd down and 6. Marino to the corner of the end zone, but too deep, intended for Troy Drayton, who was covered by Sam Rogers, the linebacker, hanging right there with him. 3rd down and 6 now. Buffalo off to an early lead, 3-0.
Take a look at Troy Drayton. He looks like a pull and tackle out there. He's 6'4", 280. It's a wonderful athlete. This is the new breed of NFL football player when you see the size of these tight ends. And you take a look at them, and I mean, it's come a long way. You see a couple new guys in the league that are now 6'7", 6'8".
This year, in the red zone, Buffalo has had its problems. They did in '98. Now Marino throws. It's batted and incomplete. Henry Jones helping to break up the play intended for McDuffie, and Miami will have to settle for a game-tying field goal attempt.
Well, that's a win for the defense of the Buffalo Bills. Field goals at this point right now, and I was going to say earlier that when Buffalo has good field position, they have to take advantage of it. They got to come away with 7, not 3. Field goals are fine. They're good. They get you points on the board and all that kind of stuff, but it kind of takes away the momentum, and it gives it back to the Buffalo Bills for holding them.
Olindo Mare. Ed Perry to snap it. Damon Eward, who's Marino's backup, to hold it. And that is good from 31 yards. 6:46 left in the opening quarter. Buffalo 3, Miami 3.
You can see Hunter Goodwin right there, the tight end for the Miami Dolphins, got his arm on his shoulder pad of his quarterback, Dan. Hey, Dan, what are we doing later on? You go out and take care of me?
Dan, you got to find me. I'll be open.
That's a 4-year player who knows where his bread is buttered, right?
They all do here in Miami.
Yeah, they do.
Game time, Murray to kick off. Taken at the goal line by Kevin Williams. And Williams gets spun down up at the 24-yard line by Patrick Surtain. College football coming your way here on ABC on Saturday. Regional action beginning at noon Eastern and 9 a.m. Pacific. Miami against Florida State. Seminoles ranked #1 in the country. Hurricanes going to Tallahassee, or Michigan against Michigan State. Regional action this Saturday at noon Eastern right here on ABC.
Rivalry weekend. That's what it looks like.
From the 25-yard line, first down for the Buffalo Bills. Flutie buys time, going deep for Moles, and blanket coverage provided by Buckley. Last year in the playoff game here, and Jimmy Johnson referred to it at the top in his interview with Leslie Visser, Moles had a fabulous day. 240 yards, 9 catches, including on the opening play of the game, a long bomb, which he then fumbled to Miami.
You can see right here, this is one of the things that the Dolphins kind of make you think that you can do, is create big plays like that. And Terrell Buckley is right there step for step. You just got to keep going at it, because the chances of you making it are pretty good.
Moles has been a big play guy. This is Jonathan Linton, and he gets bottled up. Last year they sprung Moles for 9 touchdowns, and his average touchdown reception, the average yardage was 49 yards per touchdown catch.
Phenomenal athlete, and he really started to come into his own last year. He was one of the receivers picked in that great receiver draft.
There it is, highest in the NFL in the last 10 years. So he's the guy they go to for the bomb. Andre Reed, of course, in his advancing 30s, is now the possession receiver. 3rd down and 8. They string it out, and Flutie throws, and that's incomplete as he tried to get it into Kevin Williams.
Well, from our vantage point up here, Al, you could see that the receivers for the Buffalo Bills are covered all over the field. This is the thing that Jimmy Johnson loves to see. He wants his DBs to be right in the face of the wide receivers, and you know, right now they're winning right now, and you could take a look right here and see how everybody's covered. Look at this. There's somebody with everybody right there in that little triangle. Just throw it away and try to play defense now.
Chris Moore, rush was on. High floating kick. Fair catch called for, made by Buckley at the 39-yard line. 5.5 minutes to play in the first quarter. The Bud 1 airship high above Pro Player Stadium.
That thing's up there tonight?
It's up there. Oh, yeah.
Does he know that there's clouds and rain and all that stuff in the area? We have weather around here, Al.
No
There's
T-storms,
serious
baby.
weather around here.
No T's.
Well, that guy deserves a raise for being up there tonight. That's all I can tell you.
He'll get one now. First down from the 39-yard line as Marino, under some pressure, throws underneath. It's caught by Drayton up to the 45-yard line. Gain of 6. Tackled there by Ken Irvin. Baseball in Cincinnati. The Mets lead 5-0. Al Leiter has gone all the way. Alfonso and Henderson have homered for the Mets. If the Mets win on, they go to Phoenix to meet the Diamondbacks in the divisional series tomorrow.
Well, that's 2 series now that Dan Marino's come out throwing on first down off the play action, easy completions, and all quarterbacks love to be in that situation. They want to throw on first down.
2nd and 4. J.J. Johnson has the hole up to the 50-yard line. From the moment Jimmy Johnson got here, he said, I'm going to run the ball, I'm going to run the ball, I'm going to run the ball. Abdul-Jabbar is the starter, but then they went out and they drafted this guy, J.J. Johnson, and we will see before the night is done Cecil Collins, the guy that Johnson really loves.
Well, last year it was John Avery they drafted. They brought in Tyrone Wheatley, who's having a bounce-back season for the Raiders now. I mean, this is something that he has searched long and hard for, finding running backs, and he likes this kid, J.J. Johnson, and he really likes Cecil Collins.
Avery is now in Denver, where he's liable to play a more prominent role with what happened to Terrell Davis today, and we will talk to Terrell at halftime, but he is done for the season. Marino throws, and it is caught by McDuffie, and that's a first down to the 29-yard line.
You give him time and you let him sit in the pocket and you throw it on first down off of play action. More often than not, Dan Marino is going to complete passes down the field. One of the great things about this offense that has really started to show itself is that he has thrown balls to 9 different receivers. Take a look at a kick from the end zone here. You can see Bruce Smith is handled at the line of scrimmage. He's double teamed, which is a smart thing to do.
From the 29-yard line, chugging his way over the left side is J.J. Johnson for a gain of a yard, maybe 2. 3.5 left in the opening period. 3-3. Bruce Smith, who will go to the Hall of Fame someday, still active, second in history in career sacks, second only to Reggie White. Let's take a look at how they handled them.
Watch this. Here's Richmond Webb on the outside, and there's Gogan on the inside. You know what? When I played for the New York Jets, I wish we would have done a little of that. We tried to block him with one guy too many times.
Would have helped to have Webb and Gogan.
Well, he's spent a lot of time picking me up off the ground.
Second down and 8. Marino chased out of the pocket, throws, and it is not caught.
Oh, what a hit.
Conrad took a shot from Kurt Scholes.
Whoa, man, what a hit. This is what a free safety is paid to do, and that's deliver licks in the back of the head and make sure the ball comes loose. And I'll tell you, Kurt Scholes just absolutely throws himself into Conrad. Here's the regular speed, and listen to this. It's like a car wreck, man. You know, football games are car wrecks. Every week it's another car wreck that you find yourself in, and these athletes figure out some way to get themselves back on the field the next week.
Third down and 8, and Miami has to take a timeout. There are only 10 guys on the field, so they have the wrong personnel in there. Have to waste a timeout. 2:38 to go in the opening quarter. 3-3. Rob Conrad not quite sure if he's in Dade, Broward, or any other county right now.
It really was a wicked hit by Kurt Scholes. Take a look at this. He's got the ball, but that's exactly what a free safety is told to do. Get in there, get in behind, and knock the ball loose. And defensive players love this type of stuff. No. Oof. And he was in an awkward position in the first place.
And Miami had to call a timeout. Third down and 8. Part of the reason they had to call a timeout, shuttling the rookies in and out. Conrad and J.J. Johnson, and especially with the injury to Conrad. The third down and 8 pass is caught by Gadsden, but well short of the first down. And again, it's Kurt Scholes making the play.
Well, he's got to wrap him up here. He tries to run through him like he did before on Conrad, but this time Gadsden is standing up, and he's not as prone to get the ball knocked out as Conrad was earlier. But Schultz has got to deliver the blow like he does, but wrap up and take him to the ground, and don't give him a chance to get away.
Now Olindo Mate comes in to attempt what will be a 44-yard field goal. Damon Ewart to hold, Ed Perry to do the snapping. And right down the middle. From 44, 6-3. Wade Phillips watching his team now trailing by 3. He'll send Flutie out there in a moment. And when you think about Miami and Doug Flutie, forever the city, and Doug will be intertwined. That Boston College Miami Classic in 1984, end of the game, and Flutie working his magic some 15 years ago. With so much on the line, and Miami coached by Jimmy Johnson.
I think he's seen enough of this. Oh, look at Jimmy right there.
Look at that coiffure.
A few pounds lighter and less gray.
And there was Gerard Phelan in the end zone, hauling it in at the old Orange Bowl. 47-45 Boston College.
Well, he's been doing it like that ever since. He did it up in Canada. He certainly did it here last year, and he's a terrific story, Al. I mean, for a lot of different reasons, and I'm sure we'll hit a lot of those other reasons as the game goes on tonight. But he's just an inspiration to all. He's kind of captured that city. That city was looking to try and replace Jim Kelly and the memories that he created there in Buffalo, and he was the right medicine, the right mix for the Buffalo Bills. They started off slow last year. Rob Johnson got hurt, and due to a freak play against the Jacksonville Jaguars where he scored at the end of the game and won that game, he took over an entire city and team.
Mare's kick. A yard into the end zone. Kevin Williams coming out with it. And the University of Miami grad gets taken down by Sean Wooden up at the 18-yard line. What happens when Drew and his friends get busted selling beer on the web? The Drew Carey Show, Wednesday, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, right here on ABC. You ever sell beer on the web?
Nope. Have you ever bought beer on the web?
No.
Nope. Well, doesn't Budweiser do something for us? Just call them up and tell them to send it to you.
All right.
All right.
First down at the 18-yard line for the Buffalo Bills. Smith. Antoine up to the 22-yard line, gain of 3. Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Xenical. Ask your doctor about Xenical today. Jeep, makers of Grand Cherokee, Cherokee and Wrangler. Monster.com, there's a better job out there.
No, there's not.
And Charles Schwab, when we created a smarter kind of investment firm, we also created a smarter kind of investor.
You could say that Monster.com every week, Al. I'm one happy camper up here.
Second down and even when the lights go out, second down and 7 from the 21-yard line.
Oh,
and Flutie's pass is incomplete. It was one hopped by Buckley. Incomplete. Thomas wants a holding call. Doesn't get it.
Interesting. Andre Reed did the smart thing and upended Terrell Buckley on that play and didn't take anything for granted. Tim Bowens took exception to that, but take a look at Zach Thomas. Here he comes on the blitz. I mean, he comes, and you could see number 79, Reuben Brown, protecting his quarterback like any good lineman should do. Just grabbing him and holding him up and keeping him away from Doug Flutie as best he can.
Third down and 8 from the 21-yard line.
This is where it's so tough against Miami right now, Al. With the voice, the loudness.
Flutie take it off. Doug with the first down and a lot more up to the 39-yard line.
You see that little move at the end there, and most quarterbacks will slide. Doug Flutie doesn't slide, and what that means to his teammates, I can't even begin to tell you. A couple weeks ago against the New York Jets, Doug Flutie doubled back and threw a cross-body block against Mo Lewis, the linebacker of the Jets. Little plays like this can inspire an entire football team to play better than they are right now. They've been struggling on offense. Let's see how they come after this play here. Stay in your lanes. The defensive linemen have to make these tackles if they're not going to blitz them.
17-yard gain, first and 10 from the 39. Flutie.
Oh, he's got him.
Open. A fingertip catch, a juggling catch made by Remersma. He takes Madison for a pony ride down to the 24-yard line.
Alan, you could feel the momentum switch in the last two plays, and it's all because of that run. A nice pass to Remersma. He makes a nice catch. I talked to a couple of the coaches of the Buffalo Bills before the game. They liken him to Jay Novacek, the great tight end from the Buffalo Bills, that type of player. But this guy here, Doug Flutie, has just ignited his offense to make some plays.
End of the quarter, Miami leading Buffalo 6-3, and Monday Night Football is back after this message and a word for ABC stations. Back in Miami, Al Michaels, Boomer Esiason, and Leslie Visser at Pro Player Stadium, where the Buffalo Bills are driving. They have a first down at the Miami 24-yard line. Dolphins up 6-3. Doug Flutie gives the ball to Antoine Smith. Nothing happening. That's Zach Thomas knifing through, breaking up the play, spilling Smith.
Oh, really? Something new?
Think about it. Guy, a low pick, 5th-round choice.
But, you know, take a look at him. He's on a blitz right here, so he gets back to the backfield. But look at the speed that he has. You know, everybody wondered about his size, but it's the instincts that he has as a football player in the middle to make plays like that and the speed to go along with it. And then when you couple that with the desire to become one of the best, you have an all-pro football player who was on one of the best defenses in football.
Played his college ball at Texas Tech, 5th-round pick in 1996. On 2nd and long, Lincoln goes nowhere. No gain. Flutie's rush before 17 yards. Doug, this season alone, has rushed for 140 yards. Dan Marino, in his entire career, 90 yards.
That true?
90. That is correct. Dan is averaging, I believe, 0.3 of a yard per carry.
You know, the next week we're in the Meadowlands with the Jets. I think I saw 89 of those 90 yards in the Meadowlands. But that's back when he was younger, though.
Flutie and his mobility so essential to his success. 3rd down and 15. Doug throws, and that is incomplete, and a flag is dropped. Andre Reed with Terrell Buckley.
Prior to the snap, false start. 35, offense.
Well, whatever
5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Whatever momentum they had, it seemed like that the change of quarter took them out of that. It was almost like a timeout in basketball. When a team is on a run, the coach will call timeout, sit everybody down, and try to disrupt the flow of play, and I think that's exactly what happened in between the quarters here with Buffalo.
3rd down and 20. If you're wondering why they didn't take the play, there was no play. If you have a false start like that, they whistle it dead. The players didn't hear it, so there is no option. 3rd down and 20 at the 34-yard line. Flutie deep, and it's incomplete. Broken up by Marion, and incomplete. Kevin Williams, the intended receiver.
Ball a little bit underthrown that time, but the receivers have to get away from the DBs. It's the responsibility of the receiver to be able to make a move on a DB, especially when they're one-on-one, and give that quarterback some space and some room to deliver the ball confidently. And right there, Williams had the space, and Doug underthrew the football. So Williams, he did the right thing against the coverage.
Now Christie.
What a nice
and
kick.
From 52, it's good. So Steve Christie, who's been sharp this year from inside 40, but hadn't made one from outside 40, bangs one through from 52 yards away for a smiling Wade Phillips, and that knocks the game 6-6. 4 field goals in the game thus far.
Jimmy Johnson loves this, Al.
This is Brock Marion fielding the kick from the goal line. Marion is back out to the 24, tackled there by Gabe Northern. Week 5 next weekend, Sunday Night Football on ESPN. Battle of the Bays from Lambeau, Tampa Bay against Green Bay. And then Monday night we go to the Meadowlands. Next Monday night, the Jacksonville Jaguars 3-1 against the New York Jets, who got off the schneid yesterday in Denver. The Jets and the Jags.
It should be a good ball game next week. Jacksonville's offense, not looking as powerful as we thought. They had a little trouble yesterday against Pittsburgh. But how about that Tampa Bay defense, though? Oh, boy, they smoked it.
Tough, but they're only 2-2. Cecil Collins is in the game for Miami now. We take a look at him. And this is Collins behind Conrad, who's back in the game. And Cecil picks up about 2. Collins, a rookie, 5th-round pick in '99, troubled past, played sparingly at LSU, got thrown out of school, played sparingly at McNeese State, got thrown out of school, spent some time in jail, and another one of those reclamation projects which Jimmy Johnson seems to know what to do with.
Well, not all the reclamation projects are correct, but this kid has got a chance, and he's got a second chance. If you can rush for 100 yards in a game, you're going to get a second chance. We dictated that last week.
2nd down and 8 from the 25-yard line. And Marino throws to Conrad, and Conrad with a 1st down up to the 43-yard line. The rookie from Syracuse shoved out by Sam Cowart.
He doesn't look, standing next to him down on the field, he doesn't look like he'd be as quick as he is and as runs as fast as he does, because he's a fullback. He's a big, heavy set guy, and you can see right here, comes right out, has nice hands. He has to turn around and get the football. And luckily, he was on the sideline and had the ball in the proper arm, Al, and that's why you put the ball in the outside arm on the sideline. So if they do knock it out of your arm, it goes out of the side. It goes out of bounds.
He comes out again. Remember, he was the guy who took that shot from Kurt Schulz about 15 minutes ago from the 38-yard line. Cecil Collins takes it up to the 45. On the subject of reclamation projects, and this is beyond that, of course, the Demetrius Underwood situation. You've read about it. The #1 pick of the Minnesota Vikings didn't work out there. Miami picked him up, and then he attempted suicide. He tried to commit suicide last week in Michigan. He's still in a Michigan hospital. The Dolphins, of course, are standing behind him and hope that he can not only get back to playing football, but more importantly, get his life back in order. Second down and 4 from the 44-yard line. Collins cuts it back, and Collins to the 50-yard line, and that is a first down.
And you could see why Jimmy Johnson likes Cecil Collins. He's a between-the-tackles runner. He'll go down low. He'll break some tackles. And he's going to have a chance now. He's healthy. His ankle's back to normal. And between he, J.J. Johnson, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, they have a pretty good set of running backs back there now.
This is what Jimmy wanted. I mean, Jimmy said from day one in 1996, I'm going to run the ball. I'm going to run the ball. Now he's got 3 guys who can really run the ball, plus Conrad who can catch the ball coming out of the backfield.
And their offensive line is better with the addition of Kevin Gogan. Once they get Mark Dixon back, they'll be back. They'll have a solid offensive line. They'll have a solid backup, and certainly that has helped them at this point.
Marino throwing, and that's incomplete. Intended for Rhonda Gadsden and covered there by Ken Irvin. So it'll be second down and 10. I mean, Boomer, in a season where your Super Bowl teams are a combined 0-8, where the Jets are 1-3, where you have no idea what's going on. I mean, here's Miami at 2-0, and, you know, newspapers and others like to run those power polls. Well, Miami winds up #1 in a lot of them this week.
Well, they beat 2 teams that aren't doing so well in Arizona and Denver. They beat Denver convincingly in Denver. Didn't play well against Arizona. There's a team up in New England. I'm sure we'll have a few things to say about that. There's a team in Tennessee, certainly, that feels pretty good about itself as well.
Cecil Collins, and there's a team in St. Louis that feels real good about itself right now.
Well, in a different conference, you know, but they could be this year's Atlanta Falcons. They have an easier schedule when you look at it. They have to play the AFC Central with Cincinnati, Cleveland, teams that they should probably, well, they did. They beat Cincinnati yesterday, the St. Louis Rams did. So this is a unique season in a sense that some of the have-nots will have an opportunity because the haves are losing players left and right due to injury.
Standings almost upside down.
When you start losing players like Jamal Anderson, and Terrell Davis, and Vinny Testaverde, and Wayne Coupette, I mean, boy, I'll tell you, because of the salary cap, you don't have players to replace him.
Third down and 11. Marino nearly gets sacked, pump fakes, loses the football, and his arm was coming forward, so it's an incomplete pass. Marcellus Wiley was there. Wade Phillips saying, "Our ball."
Looks like the Statue of Liberty.
Wade, whose father, of course, was Bum Phillips, the former Oiler and Saint coach.
You can see right here his arm is going forward. He tries to pull it back because he doesn't like the coverage. There's no question about that, but that's certainly an attempt to pass with his arm going forward. So the correct call by the official.
Tom Hutton to punt. Fair catch signal for a flag down. Kevin Williams falls it in near the 10. There's a marker down. And it's a hold against maybe Robert Jones. Bruce DeHaven is the Bills special teams coach.
It's an interesting situation right here for Wade Phillips. What do you do?
Holding 52 of the kicking team prior to the kick. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 4th down.
With the ball on the 9-yard line, it's the correct thing to do. The only reason I would say that is because, you know, Hutton's definitely has the leg to get it back down there, and with the conditions the way they are, as moist as the air is, the fact that this is one of those new kicking balls, you'll have to take into account of a possibility of a fumble or something like that, but they're thinking field position and return right now.
You saw Mike Westhoff, the Dolphins special teams coach, who looked like he's been playing.
What's the humidity, about 90%?
106. Here's Hutton's kick again. Another flag, and this is Williams taking it back to the 26. Hutton went down. Darryl Porter tried to block it and wound up going into him.
I think it's going to be roughing the punter here. I don't think it's going to be running into the punter. There it is.
And a face mask.
Face mask. That's a personal foul and automatic first down.
He's signaling it's against
Buffalo.
The Bills.
Right.
He brings Jason Taylor out to discuss the option.
Yeah, it's a first down. What's the option? Take the ball.
Personal foul, face mask on the receiving team, number 22. It's a major penalty, 15 yards from the previous spot. First down.
Yeah, but there's no discussion. Let's take a look at this. On the bottom of your screen here, you'll see number 22 at the bottom right there. Here he comes. Take a look at this. I mean, he pulls his face. I don't necessarily know that it was an intentional penalty, but you know, certain things like this is, they take the penalty previous, they make him kick it over, now they lose the ball.
Right. And that of course is the downside to making them re-kick it.
Right.
They lose possession of it, so it's a huge penalty.
Take it right here. He's got him right here, and he's going to grab the face mask of number 99. That
Taylor.
was Jason Taylor, yeah. Actually runs into the punter as well. I thought the way that it looked, I didn't see the face mask. It looked like it could have been roughing the punter as opposed to that particular call, but how bizarre is that?
So Porter and Bruce DeHaven, with Porter pleading his case on the sideline. First down, Miami now at the 45-yard line. Whistles before the snap as the game has gotten ragged here.
The officials want some airtime tonight, Al. Boy.
Prior to the snap, false start. Right guard on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Huh. The game's so close, so tight. Obviously, the last thing you need are little penalties like this and the big penalty prior to this. These teams always play tight, whether it's high-scoring games or low-scoring games, and certainly the last thing you need right now are these little ticky-tack penalties like this.
First down for Miami at the 50-yard line. Throws off his back foot. That's incomplete, and another penalty marker.
And you're going to have holding this time on the offensive line of the Miami Dolphins.
Penalties on each of the last 4 plays. Johnson's not going to dispute that one. Cecil Collins, perhaps 34.
Holding, number 34, offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Take a look at Cecil right here. He's on the right of your screen. Watch what he does here. He actually misses and tackles. Well, I mean, make a play on special teams like that, you could find yourself running down covering kicks and punts.
And then Marino goes down somewhat awkwardly in the arms of Bruce Smith. First down at 25 from the 40-yard line. And guns it, caught at the 40-yard line of the Bills by Tony Martin, who makes his first catch of the night. 20 yards. Martin, the one-time Dolphin who went to San Diego, played in a Super Bowl with the Chargers, had a great year with Atlanta last year, but because of legal problems, Atlanta didn't sign him, and Miami did, and here he is.
Terrific pass protection by the offensive line, especially the left side, Richmond Webb and Kevin Gogan, but a nice throw, a nice route. When you give the receiver a chance to get down the field with no pass rush on the quarterback and give him a free sight line, most of these quarterbacks in this league, especially the older ones, will complete it.
2nd and 4. It's a jumbo backfield of sorts with Conrad and Pritchett, and they give it to Pritchett. And he gets jumboed at the 40-yard line. First carry of the season. Kippy Brown, the offensive coordinators, will send in a 3rd down and 5. Tomorrow, season premiere of Sports Night. TV Guide says the stories and characters are as good as they come. Emmy Award-winning Sports Night returns. 3rd down and 5 at the 40-yard line.
Al, you talked about putting that big backfield in the back behind Danny Marino, the 2 fullbacks. It gives the impression to the defense that they're going to pass, so they turn around and hand it off. But the defensive line definitely weren't fooled.
Collins, the sole back, at 3rd down and 5.
And here comes the blitz.
And it is almost intercepted by Thomas Smith. Smith is one of the finest corners in the league, but the problem with Thomas is that his hands are so bad he doesn't get the pickoffs necessary to wind up in the Pro Bowl.
Now, the interesting thing there is you can see Danny's angry probably at Aronde Gadsden, number 86. It looked like Aronde had stopped. He should have kept going. If he is the hot receiver and he knows he's the hot receiver, he has to keep coming. You see Danny getting ready to throw it, and Aronde just stops right there. Well, Danny's facing a blitz. Smith has got to make that play, but the question is does Aronde Gadsden have to stop? I don't think so.
Miami 0 for 6 on 3rd down tonight, and the kick takes a nice sideways hop and goes out of bounds at about the 8-yard line. Time left in the half, 7:04. 6-6 in Miami. Buffalo in the first half tonight, 4 possessions, 2 field goals, a fumble, and a punt, the result. And now they begin deep in their own territory.
This is really one of those games, Al, where if the offense could just stay on the field for 10 or so plays and maybe come away with 3, you give your defense a blow on the sideline and they could still be effective as the game goes on.
First down, Buffalo from the 8-yard line, and Flutie on an out, and that's incomplete, intended for Moles, covered by Buckley. Let's go to Leslie Visser. Leslie.
Alan, with a man that the Bills could use tonight, Thurman Thomas, who, as you know, took a shot on the first play of this season, bruised his liver. Thurman, you were in the hospital for 4 days. How are you, and when are you going to return?
I'm feeling okay now. I started working out again, and the doctors say I should be back in about 3.5 weeks.
Did you ever think of retiring?
It crossed my mind a little bit. I know after 12 years in this league, an injury like this is something that you got to really take care of. And it crossed my mind, but I love this football team. There's no way I can retire now.
What about for this game? What could the Bills use right now to break this open?
Well, I think right now we got to get Eric Moles open. Him and Andre, you know, 2 of the better receivers in the National Football League. And I think we got to run the ball a little bit better than what we're doing just to keep Dan Marino off the football field.
Well, it's just not the same without having you in this game. Thanks, Thurman. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Leslie. Antoine Smith picked up a yard. Thurman Thomas. And there is the baseball final. Al Leiter throws a 2-hit shutout. Mets advance, beat the Reds 5-0. Cincinnati season is done. And the Mets meet Arizona tomorrow, and the Astros play Atlanta in the National League Division Series.
Mets had to win. There's 2-1 in salary difference there, isn't it?
3rd down and 9 from the 9. Corner blitz. Flutie throws, and it's incomplete, intended for Andre Reed, who's covered by Buckley. So Buckley is all over the joint. Jerry Wilson with a corner blitz that time, putting the pressure on. There he is.
And you could see in the backfield that Jonathan Linton wasn't really sure, is that my guy? Is it not my guy? And he let Wilson come by, and he tried to actually make a stop, but he couldn't get to him. You could see he actually misses him and overruns him. And Doug tries to throw the football, but Buckley is all over him.
Reed left the field a little gingerly.
But Buckley came down on his left ankle.
Chris Moore to punt out of his own end zone. And the ball just about dies at the Buffalo 40-yard line. 31-yard boot. 5:59 left in the half in this AFC East rivalry in Miami. 6-6. Reed, who has caught in his career more than 900 passes, 3rd most in history to Jerry Rice and Art Monk, is shaken up. Trying to shake it off as we look at Miami's possession.
That's
3 punts, 2 field goals. And Miami has it at the Buffalo 39-yard line, 1st and 10. Collins picking up about 6. Monday Night Football from Miami is being brought to you by UPS, the official express delivery sponsor of the NFL. By the people inspired to build vehicles for your mind, and Hart Nissan, driven, and Miller Lite. Taste a true Pilsner.
Al, you could see in that last play why Jimmy Johnson likes Cecil Collins. He started out play side and then saw a hole and hit it hard and hit it low. And he got 6 yards on a carry that probably was not going to net him anything.
Collins again, and this time a nice play in the backfield by Gabe Northern, who refused to let him go north and south on that play.
Well, he avoided Stanley Pritchett, and fullbacks are paid to block, and linebackers are paid to make a miss. You can see right here, take a look at the top of your screen. There goes Pritchett down to the ground, and these athletic linebackers all throughout the league can make plays like that. Fullback's got to keep his head up and look and see what he's blocking. You cannot block what you cannot see.
3rd and 4. The Dolphins have not converted a single third down tonight. And they don't hear it's fumbled, and it's picked up by Northern, and he will be running north and south. John Holasek dislodged the football, the sack, the forced fumble, Marino on his knees, and Northern is in the end zone for a touchdown.
Al, we talked about it earlier in the show, how they made the left side of the line Kevin Gogan and Richmond Webb. It seems to me that somebody made a mistake at the line of scrimmage and allowed Holasek to come free. I wonder if it was a back going the wrong way, and here comes Holasek, nobody blocking him. Richmond Webb is responsible for Bruce Smith, and usually when somebody comes free like that, somebody makes a mistake. Either the back goes the wrong way or the linemen don't see it.
Could have been Collins, Christie, for the point after. That is the first time all season that Marino has been sacked. So it's a sack, a fumble, and a touchdown as Buffalo leads 13-6. John Holasek with a sack. Holasek in his 5th year in the league had a total of 1.5 career sacks. But a huge one there against Marino as Brock Marion runs the kickback from the 10 up to the 24-yard line, and we'll take another look at the touchdown again, Boomer.
And now we talk about it. Somebody had to make a mistake. Right here you can see Tim Ruddy, the center, and Kevin Gogan, the left guard. They get tangled up with Bruce Smith right here, and what ends up happening is Gogan doesn't come off and make the block for Holasek. He's got to come off and pick up number 52 and not get mired into that double team in the middle like that. Now I can't tell if Bruce Smith was grabbing Gogan and he couldn't get away, but that's something that a left guard has got to be able to see and expect. And I'm sure that the offensive line coach of the Dolphins basically explained his position clearly and loudly.
Abdul-Jabbar back in as the running back in this set, and he can go nowhere. Turned in by Rodgers, and then Holasek makes the tackle.
Now, I was wondering also with Cecil Collins being on the field if he went the wrong way, but he actually blocked Northern from the other side, so he looked to me like he was doing the right thing. But not knowing their offenses, because I haven't seen their playbook, it seemed to me that the offensive lineman made the mistakes.
2nd down and 10 from the 24-yard line. Fake to Collins this time, and then it's caught by Drayton, and he gets tackled by Henry Jones very close to a first down up at the 34-yard line.
The interesting thing about Troy Drayton now is that he actually has bone chips in one of his knees, and they were talking about possibly having surgery, but he elected not to have surgery. He's electing to play through the pain. Another one of those intangible things that your teammates respect. You see him limping there a little bit. And he's probably not 100%, but he feels like this is an opportunity for play on a really good team. So he's going to suck it up, and he's going to play through the injury and take the surgery at the end of the year, as long as everything continues to go okay.
And by the length of the football, it is a first down for the Dolphins up at the 34-yard line. You know, Leslie was talking to Thurman Thomas before. Yeah, I think back to the Super Bowl in Tampa following the 1990 season. If Scott Norwood's kick is good, if Buffalo wins the game, Thomas is the MVP.
That's right. You know, you think about Andre Reed, Thurman Thomas, and Bruce Smith. You can consider them the big three, like we always think of Aikman, Smith, and Irvin in Dallas. Tremendous football players that are going to leave a truly great legacy.
This is Collins picking up a couple up to the 36-yard line. You think of Thurman Thomas, and then you think, Boomer, I mean, it's an amazing thing. When you think of the NFL last season, Terrell Davis leads the league in rushing. He is now gone for the season with a knee injury. We'll talk to him at the half. Jamal Anderson is second in the league in rushing. He is gone for the season. The injury on a Monday night in Dallas. Barry Sanders has, at least for the moment, retired. Garrison Hurst of San Francisco hasn't played, and his future is in doubt. 2nd and 7. Marino going deep, and it is picked off by Scholes. Kurt Scholes takes it away from a run to Gadsden at the 30-yard line.
Exactly how a free safety has to play. He has to read the eyes of the quarterback. He has to find the football, and he's got to go make a play on it. And a couple things we've seen tonight from Kurt Scholes is that he is not afraid of contact and to go after the football. Take a look at this. He comes out of the center of the field to make this play. It's a terrific play by Kurt Scholes. Rondé Gadsden has no idea he's even there. That's how far away Scholes came from.
Scholes knows Dan Marino well. He's played 11 career games against Miami. That's the first time he's picked Dan off.
Oh, what a terrific play by a guy who is having a great night.
First down, Buffalo from the 30-yard line. Flutie, that's dropped by Moles. Covered that time by Patrick Surtain.
He's got no hair either, Al.
I think by choice, I think. Well, there's a guy who doesn't have to worry about having a bad hair night and humidity, right?
That's exactly right, Al. The interesting thing that time for Eric Moles, he really hasn't been a factor tonight at all, and it just seemed to me like he was out of sync with that ball. And you can see Doug Flutie not off to a great night in the passing department.
His team is ahead. Moles has no catches thus far. This is Jonathan Linton. And Linton up to the 35-yard line. Clock ticking down toward the 2-minute warning. He is tackled there by Zach Thomas.
I'm going to give credit to the Buffalo defense this first half. They just absolutely smothered the offense for the Miami Dolphins. 2 huge turnovers, one leading to a touchdown. And there's the hero of the night thus far, wouldn't you say?
Along with Gabe Northern and John Holisek, the defense doing the job. 2-minute warning, Buffalo by 7.
Mine is Inside the Game with live action, interviews, and live polls at ESPN.com.
Oh, there's big old Ted Washington. Al, look at this arm right here. That arm is actually bigger than your entire body.
You think so?
That guy is listed at 6'4", 330. There's no way that he's 330.
That's only post Canyon Ranch.
Maybe that arm is 330. I don't know about that. But actually, we kid, but Wade Phillips said that Ted Washington has really worked on his stamina and is now playing third downs at times as well. So that defense is really bringing it tonight.
3rd down and 6. Flutie throws. And that is trapped by Andre Reed. One hop by Reed, incomplete. It'll be 4th down. Buffalo will punt. Tomorrow. What could be so outrageous it would make Dharma do this? You'll have to tune in to find out. An all-new Dharma and Greg coming your way tomorrow at 9 Eastern and 8 Central Time.
Looks like they're trying to sell the company there, and she doesn't want to get sold, huh?
Is that the plot line?
I don't know. I have no idea. Looks good, though. Nice dive.
Yes. Sliding to a hole. Here's Moore. Short kick, but it takes a good Buffalo bounce. And it rolls dead at the 18-yard line with 1:41 remaining in the first half. What's coming up at the half? Let's check in with Chris Berman in New York.
All right, Al, thank you. Coming up in our Toyota halftime show from the ESPN Zone here in New York, we'll detail the wild card playoff game between the Mets and Reds and our top 10 plays, including punt returns to beat the band and a defensive player's 98-yard dream. And Al, we look forward to your chat with classy Terrell Davis in what must be a very tough day for him.
Thank you, Chris, and clearly it is. And as all of you who follow football know, Terrell Davis with a knee injury yesterday. He'll have surgery, and he is done for the season as the Denver woes continue.
Now, the only thing I can tell you about that is that every time I see an injury like that that's career-threatening, I just have a greater respect for the men that play the game and the difficulties they have trying to to remain injury-free.
Here's Pritchett on a little middle screen to pick up a lot of yardage up to the 36-yard line. The hurry-up offense. Kurt Schultz makes the tackle. 2 timeouts for Miami remaining.
Well, Danny's the master, and we'll see how he works against this Buffalo defense, who looks a little bit confused inside right now.
Bills rush 5, and Marino hits Gadsden, and he is inside the 30 to the 29-yard line. Ken Irvin finally brings him down. Marino needing the big play and getting it.
No pass rush. We just got done talking about Ted Washington and his stamina. He was actually on the field in that particular play and really offered no pass rush whatsoever. And right now it looks like the Buffalo Bills are actually calling timeout because they looked a little bit confused to me.
They were 5-man rush, and you can see Gadsden working on Smith. Got to the inside of him and then takes it down for a 36-yard pickup to the 28.
Now, I talked earlier about how quarterbacks want to deliver the ball with confidence, and in order to do that, the receivers got to win downfield. They don't need a lot of space. They just have to feel like the receiver's doing the right thing, and certainly Gadsden right there gave Dan Marino enough room to throw the football and deliver it on time confidently. We talked about really what is considered a sad pass rush, but watch this. Watch Washington in the middle, just standing up, not really rushing, standing. If he were going full speed, I don't know if Danny would have had an opportunity to deliver the football.
Washington comes out. The heat and humidity.
Oh, well, you know, that's the
doing
thing.
him in. First down from the 28-yard line. This time a 4-man rush. The pass is caught on a slant. This is Gadsden to the 19-yard line. A gain of 9. Marino leading him up, conserving his timeouts. He still has 2. 2nd and 1. No
panic at all.
Been here a ton of times. Marino. And a first down. O.J. McDuffie will move the chains. 25 seconds remaining.
I always felt, Al, in a game, especially when it was hot out, and the defensive linemen were getting tired, when you go to the hurry-up offense, you put an awful lot of pressure on them. And right now, there's just absolutely no pass rush whatsoever. And Dan's got clear line of sight. He's delivering the ball confidently. You wonder why a team like Miami playing a team like Buffalo wouldn't do that more often to get the game flowing and putting a little bit more pressure on those defensive linemen for the Buffalo Bills.
So Ted Cottrell, the defensive coordinator, first down at the 14-yard line. Danny swings it out. It is caught, and this is J.J. Johnson. He can't get out of bounds, and Miami will have to use its second timeout here. 17 seconds left with 1 timeout remaining. Henry Jones able to keep him in bounds.
Nice tackle by Henry Jones and a nice job of keeping Johnson in bounds. You'll see again, no pass rush, really. I mean, it looks like they're tired. Bruce Smith is out. Washington is out. This is basically the second group of guys that comes in, but really, Henry Jones is out there all by himself with J.J. Johnson. If he doesn't make this tackle, it's a touchdown. Henry Jones is one of the surer tacklers in the league, and certainly shows right there why he is that.
You know, it's the type of night you'd want to say Buffalo at least gets a break because it's not a day game, but it's almost as steamy at night as it has been during the day.
It's
here.
like playing in a steam room out here, and then you have about 30-40 pounds of padding and uniform on, and it's not easy for the big guys. And the one thing that I asked Wade Phillips, you know, who's playing really good on your defense? Hey, Ted Washington is playing unbelievable, and we're happy with his stamina. He's given us a little on 3rd down, and unfortunately in that last series he didn't do it.
Keeping the cooler climbs. 2nd down and 7 at the 11-yard line. Duffy in motion to the inside. Marino surveying, then guns it, and it is almost picked off. It is knocked down by Irvin. Now you've got 10 seconds and 1 timeout.
Well, Dan Marino caught a break right there. Irvin was right there, and Danny tried to force it in, and without any timeouts left, he tries to drill it in there to Tony Martin. Now, if Tony Martin catches this football, as opposed to maybe if Irvin catches, obviously it's an interception, but if Martin catches it and Irvin tackles him, the period's over. got to be careful where you're throwing the football. He knows that. I don't have to tell him, do I?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
He'll hear about it. Third down and
I'll hear about it.
3rd and 7 from the 11-yard line. No play.
We'll have a legal motion, I believe, on number 86. Gadsden.
Prior to the snap, false start. 86, offense. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
And this is a point here where you have to work the sidelines or you have to work the end zone. I'd be very, very careful working the middle of the field here. I don't think Buffalo is going to blitz. They'll probably sit back and try to keep everything in front of them.
Sure.
And concede a completion in the field of play and just lay on the guy. There's no way they can get the field goal team.
3rd down and 12 from the 16-yard line.
Gadsden's got to work the middle and get down the middle somehow.
And Dan throws it. It's caught by McDuffie, and he gets taken down at the 12-yard line, and they have that one timeout remaining. So with 3 seconds left. But you're right, it's so dangerous because if Marino takes an extra couple of seconds in the pocket, throws it over the middle, and then the receiver runs around, you're out of time.
Well, I made the mistake and not realizing that they had one timeout left. But the fact is that you're right. 10 seconds to go, you got to be quick and you got to be decisive. You can't be dancing around back there, and certainly Danny was. See, that's why I'm up here and I'm not down there.
That's not a why.
Well, but you know how it is.
You won the audition.
Right, I did.
You won the span. You got this job from Monster.com. You know that.
I know. Well, being quarterback in the NFL is not a bad job either, Al.
Well, it depends on which team and when.
And if this guy's chasing you.
So the half will end on this field goal attempt, barring a penalty. It will be from the 15-yard line, so a 25-yard attempt by Olindo Mare. Make it the 16, 26 yards. Mare's made 2 field goals tonight from 30 and from 44. Meanwhile, the Buffalo defensive unit has not given up a touchdown now in 11 quarters. Dolphins with 3 field goals in the half. That is the end of the first half. With the Buffalo Bills, thanks to their defense, which has provided the offense as well, leading 13-9. Coming up on the Toyota halftime show, top 10. Buffalo on top 13-9. The only touchdown in the game scored by the Buffalo defense. Doug Flutie and the Bills will get the ball. Olindo Mare to kick off. Second half is underway at Pro Player Stadium. And there's some confusion as to who's going to run it back, and Kevin Williams winds up with it. And he takes it back to the 26-yard line. Camille Loud was the guy who almost busted up the return. Let's go to Leslie Visser.
Al, at halftime, both coaches were like boxers feeling each other out. Jimmy Johnson said, except for a couple of missed reads, they haven't really hurt us. We just didn't pick up the blitz on the Gabe Northern touchdown. He said, we've got to pick up the blitz and get rid of the ball sooner. Wade Phillips said, hey, we think our defense is playing great. And he said, Miami is Marino. We don't think they can run on us.
Pretty gutsy. You know, thinking about the Buffalo offense, they have to get Andre Reed and Eric Moulds going. Neither one has a catch entering the second half.
And yet they have the lead, and this is Antoine Smith. No running game yet for Buffalo. Antoine Smith tonight has carried the ball 6 times for 21 yards.
Doug Flutie's only 3 for 12 for 71 yards. He has rushed twice for 17 yards, that they were all in the first quarter. This is an offense that we knew coming in was going to face a stiff test against this defense of the Miami Dolphins.
2nd and 11 at the 23-yard line.
Now the defense of the Dolphins is quick, they're fast, they're young, they're athletic. The 2 big guys in the middle hold everything up to allow those fast linebackers to make plays over the top.
With the play clock down to 2 seconds, Flutie scrambling, gets sandwiched, tackled at the 24-yard line. Jason Taylor is there for the tackle, along with Darrell Gardner. Let's take a look at the numbers through the first 30 minutes of play. 3 field goals from Miami, 2 field goals and a defensive touchdown for Buffalo account for the scoring.
Big chunk of the Dolphins yardage came on that last drive. But you can see right there the points off of turnovers. The Dolphins 2 big turnovers. You wouldn't think that the Dolphins had 210 yards of total offense if you sat here and looked at this thing all night, and you just turned it on, and you wonder why they only have 9 points.
Normally, that's enough to get you a lot more than 9 points. As Flutie sends one deep, and that is incomplete. And there's a marker down.
You're going to have holding on number 23 of the Miami Dolphins.
That's Antoine Smith.
No, of the Miami Dolphins.
Patrick Surtain.
Right.
Defensive holding.
These are the things that Jimmy Johnson says he'll live with.
Holding 23. Defense prior to the pass. By rule, 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
And in talking to the defensive backs and listening to them talking about themselves and how they play, is that they know they're going to get beat. They know that there are going to be flags. You just don't want them on third down when you have an opportunity to get a change of possession right here. But Jimmy likes Patrick Surtain because he likes him playing inside, which is a little bit more difficult than playing outside because the receiver you're playing has a two-way go.
First and 10 at the 30. Double tight end set now for Buffalo.
Oh, get rid of it.
And Flutie gets sacked by Calvin Jackson on a safety blitz.
What a terrific call by defensive coordinator George Hill of the Miami Dolphins, knowing that, or believing that, the Buffalo Bills were going to run a play-action pass and try to get Doug Flutie out of the backfield and get him on the outside, and calling a blitz right up the middle. What a terrific play and call by George Hill. You can see both Zach Thomas and number 38 Calvin Jackson, their strong safety, come up the middle. Solid call by the defensive coordinator.
Second down and 19 from the 21-yard line. Early in the third, Bills leading 13-9. It'll dump off to Linton, and Linton takes it up to the 27-yard line. It'll be third and long. Rich Owens in on the hit.
Al speed kills in this league, and you can see Owens tracking down Linton from his defensive tackle spot, where he's on the right side and Linton is to the defense's left side, and he makes the tackle in pursuit, and here he comes off of his block. Those are the types of plays that quick, athletic defensive linemen can make. And those are the plays that Jimmy Johnson is requiring his guys to make if they want to stay on the field and play.
Third and 13, Buffalo 1 for 6 on third down. Miami is 0 for 8 on third down. They just do get the play off. Flutie scrambling, but stopped well short of the first down by Rich Owens at the 32-yard line. So Owens in on back-to-back plays.
Well, look where he tackled them out, too. It's downfield again, and the redirect for the defensive lineman is something that coaches are always looking for. They always start forward, and they want to see how quickly they can get back and change their direction to make plays down the field, and certainly Rich Owens showed why he's a valuable member of the defensive line for the Dolphins.
Chris Moore to punt. Terrell Buckley to run it back. 37-yard boot. Buckley from the 32 with no help from his friends. And tackled right there by Antoine Winfield, their #1 draft choice. 11:05 left in the third. The Bills by 4. Bud 1 airship hovering high above Pro Player Stadium here. And a reminder that you can go to ESPN.com or NFL.com right now and try our enhanced TV during tonight's telecast. Pro Player Stadium, once known as Joe Robbie Stadium, because all Joe did was build it. And Cecil Collins takes it up to the 43, but like everything else, the name was for sale and it was purchased by the naming rights.
It's all about bucks now, baby. You know that.
Of course, it's some amateur players played here too during the baseball season as well.
There's Cecil Collins, significant now that he's getting a start here in the second half. Made a nice run there, picked up 9 yards, actually picked up a first down, or close to a first down. They're going to measure, but Jimmy told us yesterday that he loves Cecil Collins, that he thinks that this kid can be something special. We talked about offensive line play when we talked to him a few weeks ago when we were in Denver, and he was telling us how, you know what, our offensive line wasn't so good in Dallas until we drafted this kid, Emmitt Smith. And then all of a sudden we had all these old Pro Bowlers on the offensive line, and it all goes hand in hand, really. If you have a good offensive line, you can make a good back a great back. If you have a back like a Terrell Davis, Jamal Anderson, Emmitt Smith, they can make an average offensive line an outstanding offensive line.
No question. First and 10 from the 43. Collins. You know, when you think about Jimmy Johnson, fumble, and
interesting. Nobody pointing him down. No whistle, nothing.
Ted Washington is at the bottom of that pile. Bruce Smith, of course, is telling you it's Buffalo ball, but that doesn't matter until one of the striped shirts tells you.
It's close. I wonder if the ground had caused this, but you can see right here he's saying no.
Fumble, and it's recovered. Sam Cowart comes up with the football.
Now the question is,
popped him first.
Will we get a replay here? Will we get a challenge by Jimmy Johnson? Let's take a look at this right here. Let's see what the ball's doing. Keep your eye on the ball and see if it hits the ground. Well, I think if I'm Jimmy Johnson, I have to challenge, right? There should be a coach up here in the coach's box for the Miami Dolphins telling Jimmy Johnson it's time to challenge. And here you go.
Right. Carollo has been buzzed.
There's our replay officiating crew.
Now, again, it's supposed to take 90 seconds from the time Carollo gets over there, not to Johnson, but begins to review the play. They'll rack up the replays for Carollo right now. If in fact the challenge is upheld, and here's
Miami is challenging the ruling on the field that he was knocked out, that he was down by contact.
Here is the best look we have. Our producer Ken Wolf and director Craig Janoff giving you the best look at it right here.
Let's take a look at this right here. Watch Cecil. It looks like he is down right there. The ball is still in his possession, and then he fumbles. I would think that the ground had caused that, Al.
I would agree with that. If the challenge is upheld, then Miami would keep the ball and not lose the timeout. Otherwise, they're going to lose the football. This is like, I keep thinking of this. Was this what Ansel Adams looked like in the 50s in Yosemite? I mean, you know, with the viewfinder and the whole thing. It's just so wacky.
Well, you know, the interesting thing here yesterday, Alan, you and I saw a play that happened in the Jet-Denver game where what the replay didn't take into account is whether or not Rod Smith was pushed out of the end zone that kept him from getting his 2 feet down for a touchdown for Denver against the New York Jets.
Well, here is what Carollo is going to look at right now.
I think that's clear indication that that is not a fumble. That's a fumble caused by contact to the ground. Well, you saw the play yesterday in the Denver Jet game.
Get to that in 1 second. Okay. Let's just see what they call here. This is a pretty critical decision.
After reviewing the play, it's been determined that the runner was down. His right elbow hit the ground.
Yeah.
It'll be second down.
So they get it right. Miami keeps the ball, and it doesn't cost them a timeout.
Right. And that's the reason why you have instant replay, to make sure that the ball that it is called correctly, that teams don't lose ball games on bad calls. But to go back to yesterday's game.
Well, here's what the league, at least Jerry Seaman, was saying about that. 1 foot in for Rod Smith, then his elbow hits before the second foot gets forced out of bounds. That's at least what the interpretation was from the NFL.
And you're going to tell me that the DB was not pushing Rod Smith out of bounds?
I'm not saying anything. I'm telling you, they're still tinkering with this thing. 2nd down and 7 at the 46-yard line. But at least in that case, what shouldn't have been a fumble wasn't a fumble.
You throw it out here. There you go.
And he does, and it's caught by Collins, and he takes it to the 48-yard line. Sam Rogers with the tackle, so we're back to 3rd down and about 5 from the 48, and that is Bruce Smith hunched over.
Well, I'll tell you something about Bruce Smith. He may be a 15-year player, but he came off of his block and also redirected, much like Rich Owens was doing for the Miami Dolphins, and made the play along with Sam Rogers on Cecil Collins. Now, this guy is a 15-year player, a bona fide Hall of Famer, and he almost causes a fumble with his hustle. And we'll get back to that in a minute, but it's something to behold to watch a guy of Bruce Smith's stature playing every down. He doesn't want to come off the field, and he still has his motor running.
3rd and 5, 0 for 8 on 3rd down, and now 0 for 9. And these two teams collectively on 3rd down tonight are 1 for 16.
And the pressure that time, again, was coming from Bruce Smith and also number 91, Sean Price. But look at this. Now, this is the play before, and you wonder, is this a fumble right here? Whoa, that is a fumble right there. That is an absolute fumble, and they didn't have time to challenge it because nobody thought that it was a fumble.
Buffalo didn't think it was a fumble to begin with because nobody went after the football. Tommy Hutton.
That's a rocket.
Sends it into the end zone. If Buffalo had thought it was a fumble, they would have gone after it, but they didn't, and so there was no challenge. A bizarre series, college football. Late action, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. Purdue against Ohio State. Many of you will see that one. Others, Oklahoma, Texas, North Carolina, Georgia Tech, or USC against Arizona. From the 20-yard line, Jonathan Linton, who played his college football at North Carolina and was a 5th-round draft choice last year. There is Dave Wanstead, for the last 5 years, the head coach of the Chicago Bears, now the assistant head coach, sort of a roving coach. He spends the first half upstairs and the second half down on the sidelines.
And he's kind of Jimmy's go-to guy, you know, to talk to him about things, bounce things off of him. I was talking to Harvey Green, the PR guy from the Dolphins. He said ever since Dave Wanstead got here, there's been a spring in Jimmy's step. He's been excited about coming to work, and I think Dave Wanstead has had a real positive effect on Jimmy Johnson.
And is he the heir apparent? Well, it would appear that way, though nobody's saying anything officially. 2nd down and 7 as Flutie throws, and it's caught up at the 30 and then juggled and then lost, but it was incomplete. Never had possession. Sam Gagg dislodged by Terrell Buckley. Simply an incomplete pass. 3rd down and 7. Now again, does he have possession here? As we'll look at the replay, he has to have possession and both feet down.
I don't know if his left foot's down, but
just one.
You know, the thing about Doug Flutie, the last few times he's dropped back on 1st or 2nd down, he's not been able to get the ball over the middle because he's having trouble seeing. So he tends to run out and try to make big plays, and the Dolphin defense has been there to hold that up.
3rd down and 7, and it's caught up at the 26-yard line. And it is short of the 1st down as the pass is hauled in for a 3-yard pickup by Kevin Williams.
You know, the MVPs of this game are either going to be Chris Moore or Hutton on the other side, the punters. It's a game of field position, and these punters, each time the offense comes off the field, take a more significant role.
That is the first completion to a wide receiver tonight for the Buffalo Bills. Moles has no catches. Reed has no catches. And that was a little 3-yard pickup by Williams.
And you're going to have movement on the left side, either number 96 or 58 for the Buffalo Bills.
Prior to the snap, false start. 96 offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
Dan Brandenburg, to the chagrin of the special teams coach Bruce DeHaven.
Take a look. He's right here. Right there at the top of your screen. You can see just a little flinch like that. Oh, that's
Moore's
a beautiful
kick.
punt.
Fair catch called for, and then Buckley lets it go. And Buffalo should have let it go.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Yeah, Linton came up with the ball. There's a marker down back at the 23-yard line. Linton a little hasty in downing it. And this is a hold against Miami. This
would probably be a 5-yard type of hold, I believe.
Holding 24, the receiving team. After the kick was in the air, it'll be a 10-yard penalty. At the end of the kick, the receivers will keep the ball. 1st down, timeout.
Now, he does a good job of explaining.
He does. Be a big hot night in Miami as the big crowd continues to look on.
I'm sweating. How about you, Al?
I'm out of sweat right now. On 1st down, this is J.J. Johnson for a gain of 1. The Bills defense tonight. Early on, Dan Marino had this one knocked away. The pass knocked down, intended for McDuffie, and then a hard hit by Schulz. And then this is the big play of the game. The sack by Holisick, the forced fumble, and Gabe Northern rumbled 59 yards for the touchdown. And that is why the Buffalo Bills are on top by a score of 13-9. Marino throws, and it is dropped. And paying the price is J.J. Johnson. Drops it, and then insult to injury, or injury to insult almost, as Ken Irvin pops him.
Now you look back to the first half, and you wonder when the Miami Dolphins actually moved the football. It was in a 2-minute situation where the defensive lineman for the Buffalo Bills basically gave no pass rush. And they also moved it on first down when they were play action passing. And you come out, you run on first down, you gain a half a foot. And then you come out, you have a rookie receiver drop the football. And now you put yourself in 3rd and 10, and it could be another 3 and out here if you're not careful, and you're asking this man right here to make difficult throws in difficult situations.
Plenty of 3 and outs tonight. And another one right here as Marino tried to jam it into Tony Martin. Miami is 0 for 10 on 3rd down tonight, and Buffalo is 1 for 8.
Yeah, but I go back to first down. I mean, you move the ball when you're play action passing, and you're giving your quarterback a chance to dump the ball off the short little guys in the flat and stuff like that. But here you got one guy going against 2, and you're forcing him to throw the ball into double coverage, and I just don't get it. Let it loose. Let it loose.
5th punt of the night for Miami to go with 5 from Buffalo, and that is a very ugly dead duck that floats out of bounds near midfield. And they will march that one all the way to the 49-yard line of the Bills. Hutton with a clunker. Under a drawbridge?
On a boat in darkness.
No, you aren't. You were at Calder Racecourse today with me.
Yes, I was. We're over at the old track at one of our luncheons. Nice people.
And a little racing, our affiliate here in Miami.
You got the star treatment today, Al. You did. You're big. You're big in this network.
The Ken Star treatment. From the 48-yard line on first down, it is confusion in the backfield, and Jonathan Linton takes the handoff and gets whacked. The offensive coordinator, Joe Pendry, trying to find something in that chart that works.
He's got to figure out what George Hill is calling, because George Hill right now has got the number. The defensive coordinator of the Dolphins has got the number. Take a look at this. He's almost taking the handoff right here. Oh, my goodness.
It's Robert Jones busting through.
Robert Jones, I want a sack, though. I want the ball. Do I get the guy? What's going on? George Hill's doing a terrific job, Al.
Not only the defensive coordinator, but also our stats maven. 2nd and 14. That is caught at the 49-yard line by Jay Wiemersma.
You know, that doesn't look like a big play, but it really is, because this offense has just been bogged down. It really hasn't done much. This is a tough catch against close coverage. Doug puts the ball behind Wiemersma, and you watch him right here. Going against Jerry Wilson. It's a nice catch by a big man in a tough situation. Now, you're over the 50-yard line. You have to make something happen here. Somebody has got to come up with a big play. Now, how about Eric Moles? Where has he been all night?
He and Reed with nary a catch between them.
And here comes the blitz, it looks like.
And timeout as Buffalo came up to the line of scrimmage, and Miami countered with 8 guys along the line, all strung out.
All strung out?
So to speak.
They weren't strung out. They were coming.
3rd down and 7. In street clothes, Rob Johnson on the left, who last year was the starting quarterback at the beginning of the year. Alex Van Pelt is the backup. They dressed only 2 quarterbacks tonight.
Well, Rob Johnson's had 3 concussions in a year. And he was supposed to be the 3rd quarterback tonight, but I would think that they probably felt, look, let's not even think about using him. Let's not even put him in there, and let's be cautious.
Big play for Buffalo here, 3rd and 7. They've converted only 1 of 8 third downs tonight, and Flutie throws. There was a flag down at the line of scrimmage, and there was no play because it's a false start charge to Buffalo.
We finally get a pass complete, and it's all for naught because the left guard.
False start. Left guard offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Makes it 3rd down and 12. Now, with no third down conversions, the average third down tonight for Buffalo has been third down and 7.5 yards to go.
Not easy. And they have to do it over and over and over again. With the way that the Miami pass rush has been coming tonight, 3rd and 12 is not going to be easy. And it looks like they're...
Action again, and again the crowd is so loud. Robert Hicks was already in a pass protect mode. Wade Phillips is trying to influence the officials.
Prior to the snap, false start. 77 offense.
To no avail.
Remains third down.
Well, you can see right here, I mean, it doesn't get any more blatant than that. Take a look at this right here. Oh, see, one of the things I don't understand now is we watch a lot of teams on the road in this league, visiting teams using silent snap counts. And the Buffalo Bills don't seem to be doing that.
Obviously, none of the last two plays.
There they go. Now they're going to it.
First
right now,
time,
they're just
3rd and 17. 4-man rush. Flutie going deep and incomplete. Intended for the rookie Peerless Price. Trace Armstrong makes the acquaintance of Doug Flutie, which he did at the end of the playoff game last year, forcing a fumble off a sack that cemented the victory for Miami.
Well, I can't even begin to tell you how disconcerting it is for a quarterback knowing that every time he drops back, he's going to get hit when he throws the football. And at this point, that's what Doug Flutie is feeling. He's feeling the frustration of not being able to sit back there and deliver the ball.
Moore's kick, short, wobbler.
Good bounce.
Buckley on a hop at the 20. Back out to the 27. Tackled by Antoine Winfield with 4:37 remaining in the 3rd. Tomorrow, hockey's public enemy #1. He's demanding more money or says he won't skate. The fans are fed up, and guess what? They're taking him to court tomorrow on World News Tonight.
Well, I guess he could step out on the ice tomorrow night and blow out a knee and then say goodbye to a career too, right?
That's why I'm going to watch World News Tonight tomorrow to find out what this is all about.
What the heck is going on there, boy?
Right.
It's hockey season, Al, right?
You betcha, baby. Kings are 1-0.
Rangers start tomorrow night at home against Ottawa. Back to the game.
27-yard line. That is caught by Tony Martin, who warbles his way out of bounds at the 44. Thomas Smith with the coverage.
Wide first down passing. Here's Jason Taylor, the talented defensive end for the Miami Dolphins, one of the young studs on this team. And they've been relentless in pursuit of Doug Flutie tonight. But going back to the Miami offense, when you throw on first down, you have big chances to make plays down the field because defenses have 8 guys around the line of scrimmage. They're trying to stop the run.
1st and 10 at the 44-yard line. Marino goes the other way, and that's McDuffie, who's had a pretty silent night up to the 49. OJ led the league last year in receptions with a total of 90, which was a fairly low number considering the triple digits that a lot of guys have reached in this decade.
There's Kippy Brown, the offensive coordinator of the Miami Dolphins. If I'm Kippy, I want to put pressure on the Buffalo Bill defense. I want to wear them down, and the way to do that is to run an up-tempo offense. Put pressure on that defensive line, make them pass rush, make them run around out there.
3.5 to go in the 3rd. Buffalo leading by 4. 3rd down and 4. Collins to the 47-yard line, a little short of the first down. It'll be 3rd and 1 as Miami will come up to the line attempting to convert their first 3rd down of the night.
Well, when you look at it, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 1 is a bonus. And it's because they got positive yards and good yards on first down.
Defensive coordinator Ted Cottrell.
Well, he seems to be dialing up the right numbers thus far tonight as well. But
last 3 weeks, in fact. 3rd and 1 from the 47, and Marino's going to throw on 3rd and 1 and has it knocked away by Ken Urban. So on 3rd down and a short one without a single 3rd down conversion tonight, they go to the air and it's incomplete.
Well, it looks like they're going to go for it here, Al, and Well, this is really good defense. I don't understand the call on 3rd and 1 to throw a ball all the way across the field where a defensive back has a chance to make an interception. For the life of me, I don't know why you would call that play.
Well, at least going to line up to go for it. 4th and 1, a short one at the 47-yard line. And they do go for it. And with a second effort, it's Collins who somehow submarines his way, I believe, to a first down.
It looks like it is a first down, and you talk about tough yards, tough runs, and big plays. 1 yard in a football game could mean the momentum of the football game, and you could see that the second effort by Cecil Collins gets his team the first down. You talk about breaking tackles at the line of scrimmage in important situations, and this is it. He's hit right there and somehow submarines his way to the first down. The backer will not be denied. In some way, somehow, he makes the first down.
At the 45-yard line, 1st and 10. Marino pressured, sacked, lost the football, and it's recovered. Bruce Smith extracted it, and Kevin Gogan winds up with it. Bruce.
We've seen that before.
9.5 times in Smith's career now has he sacked Marino. He has made the acquaintance of Dan more than any other defender in Marino's career.
The interesting thing here is that they bring number 99 along with Smith, so Gogan is the one responsible for Smith because he's lined up over the guard. Gogan's a good player, a tough and nasty player, but to have to block Bruce Smith and his quickness is not easy for a big man of his size.
On 2nd and 21. Marino throws, caught at midfield. Drayton is able to fight his way to the 43-yard line before he's knocked out of bounds. About 8 yards shy of the first. Whew.
Well, there's Troy Drayton, and Sam Cowart, number 56, tries to bring him down, but the strength, look at his arms, look how strong he looks, and watch the straight arm here, pushes Cowart away, breaks the tackle, and then come on, and then, well, the DBs don't want to be hitting guys that are 270 like that. That man's a load right there.
3rd down 8 now at the 43-yard line. Here they come. Pressure on Marino, but he throws, and that is incomplete, but flags all over the place. 3 flags, I believe that's pass interference.
Well, Thomas Smith was beaten, and he decided to tackle him. Tackled Tony Martin, and
I'm not sure I've ever seen 3 flags on pass interference.
28, defense, automatic first down.
That's one of those you can make the call from 40 yards away.
Well, you take a look at here. Martin takes an inside release and then gets around Smith. Smith allows him to get on top of him. and you know, if Danny throws the ball out there, he has a chance for a touchdown. He underthrows it. And really, I mean, if you're Smith, you have to do that.
24-yard penalty, ball at the 19-yard line. Collins, big hole right side, takes it down to the 12-yard line.
Now he looks good, boy, I'll tell you that.
Monday Night Football being brought to you by Budweiser, the beer with a fresh, clean taste that's never filling. Ford Outfitters, no boundaries. And Propecia, talk to your doctor today.
Al Cecil Collins has got it going on. He looks strong. He looks like his legs are fresh. And when you have players like Abdul-Jabbar and J.J. Johnson and Cecil Collins, your backs are going to be fresh, especially when the 4th quarter comes around.
They let the clock run out. That's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. Buffalo 13, Miami 9. And Monday Night Football from Miami returns after this from our ABC stations. Fourth quarter beginning in Miami. Al Michaels with Boomer Esiason and Leslie Visser. The Buffalo Bills with a 2-1 record. Miami 2-0 coming in. New England on top in the AFC East 4-0. And it is 2nd down and 4 for Miami at the 12-yard line. And this is Cecil Collins seeing a lot of action here in the second half, picking up the first down. He's tackled by Rodgers, and this drive was kept alive by Miami going for it on a 4th down, and Collins picking up the first.
And making a terrific run to get the first down. You know, you talk about Jimmy Johnson and the way he likes to run offenses. You know, when he was the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Emmitt Smith had all those touchdowns, and Troy Aikman had no touchdown passes, or very few. And you wonder, well, you see it now coming to fruition here with the handoffs, play after play.
First and goal, they give it to Collins. A moment ago, you just saw that shot of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Remember, with him clapping there, and here's a guy who's in effect losing not his job necessarily, but losing a lot of playing time, watching the other guys, but at least on the sideline. I mean, he's a team guy.
I talked to him in Denver, and I had asked him what was it like in your meetings with the young guys, and he says, you know what, this game is meant for young guys. I could still play, I could still give a lot for this football team, but my role now is to help these guys and to show them, but I'll always be there for them.
This game is meant for young. This guy's 25 years old.
I know that, but look at the guys that are there now. They're younger than he is.
They're 12.
That's right. It seems like.
Second down and goal from the 8. Marino throws over the middle into traffic, and it's incomplete. He tried to jam it in there to Gadsden, Aranda Gadsden over the middle.
And actually threw the ball a little bit behind him, and this is a tough catch for a receiver cutting across the middle, especially with Kurt Schultz back there. I mean, he's hitting everything that moves tonight. Well, you know, that's good defensive recognition on the part of Schultz, and him seeing things happen and him making the play.
Third and goal. Again, Miami 0 for 11 on third down. If they convert here, it'll be a touchdown. And it almost is, but it's dropped by McDuffie. And it was Donovan Greer, who plays in the dime, who got back there to help at least obstruct it and maybe get a finger on it.
Well, Donovan Greer wants to let everybody know that he made the play, but he was beat at the line of scrimmage. And let's take a look at this right here. Here's the ball. Danny throws it right over Greer's head, and McDuffie's open. And Greer actually gets his left hand in there and gets his hand on the ball. All right, great play.
Luckily.
Yes. Well,
wasn't even looking. Back to the play. He had his back to it. This is a 26-yard field goal attempt by Mare, and that is good. So well, Olindo, who kicked 4 against Arizona, has another 4 here against Buffalo. And it's Buffalo 13, Miami 12. How long did it take that guy to get ready for this game? Here's Mate kicking off, taken at the 6-yard line. Kevin Williams brings it back to the 20, where he gets, I mean, there are like 8 Dolphins in on the tackle.
Well, that's the way you play special teams, is gang tackle and get after him and see if you can force a fumble.
A ton of Dolphins, and each guy averaging about 250. After the game, a reminder, you can tune into ESPN's Sports Center Monday Night Football postgame show featuring live reports and analysis. And then on Wednesday here on ABC, this will set the medical profession back, they tell us, an all-new 2 guys and a girl Wednesday right here on ABC.
Well, if for anything out right now, the Buffalo offense has got to move the ball. They got to eat up some clock, and they have to give their defense a chance to catch its breath. Been on the field a long time tonight.
From the 20-yard line, first down. Flutie deep, and it is hauled in by Moulds. Terrell Buckley with him step for step. A flag comes in at the end. That would be Moulds' first catch of the game. The guy went to the Pro Bowl last year.
Well, this is 2 guys going after the football, and Eric Moulds.
Pass interference, 27 defense. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a completion. First down, Buffalo.
You'll see that Terrell Buckley grabs Eric Moulds' jersey, and this is just 2 athletes fighting for the football. And watch right there. He grabs his jersey, and you can take a look at this is what the official is seeing, because he's right there in the foreground, and he can see that. Well, they try to get away with it, but
40-yard gain, first down at the 40-yard line. Flutie throws, and that's in and out of the hands of the tight end Riemersma.
Well, he had a shot right there. Riemersma was wide open, and he had a chance to make a play. And looked to me that, you know, Doug's been getting hit an awful lot tonight, and it looked to me like he rushed that ball a little bit.
That pass to Moles. Moles is a guy, I mean, you wouldn't think of it in these terms, but as you see Flutie here throwing it a little high for Remersma.
Oh, and he's got Remersma right there. He's just got to get the ball down low and keep this drive on the move.
Moles actually led the league in 20-yard receptions last year, had more than Randy Moss. But he hadn't had a 20-yard reception since the opening game against Indianapolis. There's Antoine Smith with a flag coming in.
We'll have holding this time on the offensive line, probably number 75 of the Buffalo Bills. Actually 79 maybe. There he is.
That's a Pro Bowler, Reuben Brown.
Holding, 79, offense. 10-yard penalty, replay, second down.
Well, you talk about Eric Moles, and you think back to the '96 draft. You had Keyshawn Johnson, Terry Glenn, Eddie Kennison, and Marvin Harrison in that draft, along with Eric Moles. And Moles came to play last year. Everybody found out how good he was, and now it's Marvin Harrison's turn.
Meanwhile, it's Flutie against Marino. Doug, amazingly, 3-0 in regular season starts against Dan. 1-0 with Buffalo and 2-0 when he was with New England. And that is caught over the middle and hauled in by Remersma to the 34-yard line, and he is 4 yards shy of the first down.
The Buffalo coaching staff was telling me how good this kid was as a tight end, and certainly has a real feel for the zones and knows how to get open. And let's take a look at him here. He's lined up inside, and one of the reasons Doug is able to see in the middle of the field now is because he's in the shotgun. And he has a clear line of sight and delivers the ball right on the money.
Remersma 85 yards in receptions tonight, 3rd down and 4 from the 34.
Uh-oh.
And that is caught at the 29-yard line by Eric Moles, and his forward progress will net the first down. Jerry Wilson that time on a corner blitz. He likes to do that a lot, but you're giving up the corner when you do it.
Well, you know, and the nice thing about this is that Doug saw it, he read it, and he threw away from it. And talking to Doug Flutie, one of the things that he says frustrates him is that, you know, 95% of the time he's in the pocket delivering the ball, going through his reads, and throwing the ball from the pocket. It's the other 5% when he's out there making those great plays. And unfortunately, everybody thinks of him as this guy that runs all over the field and just makes plays. Well, he now is a guy that has learned to stay in the pocket and deliver the ball, and has done a nice job of that from last season and now until this season. And that shows you right there that he's a guy that can read a defense as well as just make plays on the move.
1st and 10 from the 29-yard line. Caught, and that is Kevin Williams slipping a would-be tackle and taking it to the 6. That time Jerry Wilson had a chance to stop him early on, and he stepped right by him.
Well, again, you're talking about matchups, and the way that the Buffalo Bills are creating the matchups that they want is that they're spreading the Dolphin defense out. And if they can give Doug a little time, he could sit back there and he'll deliver the ball, and Kevin Williams makes a nice catch on that. Watch this catch right here. It's a nice catch.
1st and goal now from the 6-yard line. Flutie, a little fade, caught by Moles. Touchdown. Got position on Buckley and takes it in for the score. And so Eric Moles, who had been having a silent night, a 40-yard reception on that series, and then a touchdown.
Well, Eric Moles goes 6 foot 204 against Terrell Buckley, 5'9", 180. A perfectly thrown ball that time, a back shoulder throw where the defender never has a chance to make the play. The offender knows where it is, and Terrell Buckley never even sees the football.
Christie for the point after, and with 10:02 remaining in the 4th quarter, the Buffalo Bills have come to hot and steamy Miami and lead 20-12. Ralph Wilson has owned the Buffalo Bills since they came into the American Football League in 1960. A great tribute to him. They redid the stadium, Old Rich Stadium, and named it after the man. One of the classiest guys ever in sports. From the 4-yard line, this is Brock Marion bringing it back out to the 31. Speaking of class, here's Leslie.
Well, thank you, Alan. As you know, for 11 years, he was the symbol of the Buffalo Bills in the days of the no huddle when they made almost annual appearances in the Super Bowl. Jim Kelly is a veteran of these Dolphin-Bills wars.
Oh, yeah.
And, Jim, talk a little bit about tonight. What have the Bills done well, and what do they have to do to put it away?
Well, at the beginning, I started wishing they would throw more on first down, and they started opening up a little bit more. And that particular drive, you know, it's a real close game. They started doing that, and that's what I liked about it. Getting back and getting to the basics of throwing the football on first down. I like that.
Yeah, so does Dan Marino. Is there somewhere in your heart, you saw John Elway, the class of '83, win a couple of Super Bowls. Somewhere in your heart, are you rooting for Dan Marino?
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, except for tonight. Of course, I can't root for Dan tonight because, you know, of course, being a Bill. But you know, if he ever got the chance and he got there, there's no doubt about it, because he's one of my best friends and one of the classiest guys I've ever met. And I would love to see him do it. But of course, the Bills have been there 4 times. We haven't won one. I hope we get there first, but my second on my list is, without a doubt, is Dan.
And third on your list was Boomer Esiason.
Boomer. Oh, Boomer. He's been retired for a while, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's out of the game now.
Boomer's been one of my idols. You know, he's 38 going on like 45. I consider him one of them good old buddies.
Tell him I have more hair than him. I have more hair than him, Leslie.
Now here is McDuffie picking up the first down as he takes it out to the 44-yard line.
No, Al, we talked about it when the Buffalo Bills got the ball on their own 20-yard line, that they had to sustain a drive, keep their defense off the field, give them a chance to regroup a little bit. And all Doug Flutie does is go out and complete 5 of 6 passes for 90 yards. They had a 10-yard penalty in that drive, and he throws a touchdown pass and puts his defense in a good situation right now. Now it's up to Dan Marino to respond and answer back, which I'm sure he will, I have a feeling.
Dan Marino, who, of course, is used to fourth-quarter comebacks more than anybody in the history of the league. They'll have to pull off another one tonight, and instead has it intercepted by Holasek. Holasek, who forced a fumble that led to Northern's touchdown, takes it to the 19, and there is your player of the game right now, John Holasek, in his 5th year out of Illinois, with a huge sack and a forced fumble, and now a pick. And the crowd at Pro Player Stadium sits in stunned silence.
Danny threw it right to him. He was actually throwing it into a coverage where there were 4 guys, 4 defender Buffalo Bills against 2 wide receivers. And you can see Wade Phillips and how excited he is. Give credit to the defense of the Buffalo Bills coming up with another big play.
First interception of his career. We mentioned before, in a 4-year career, he'd had 1.5 sacks until he sacked Marino and created what turned out to be the touchdown by Gabe Northern. Take by Flutie, thrown to the end zone, and Brock Marion was the closest man to it, with Andre Reed, the intended receiver.
Who I think Doug thought he had Andre Reed for the touchdown, and he kind of underthrew it, but looked like Andre actually ran out of the back of the end zone. I don't really necessarily know if he knew where he was on the field. 2
Bills in the area.
Well, you know, Brock Marion made a nice play and knocked Andre out, but it looks like when he throws this ball, he thinks it's going to be a touchdown, and Brock Marion turns himself around and actually hits Andre Reed before the ball gets there. He's lucky that it wasn't called interference.
2nd and 10 from the 19. Antoine Smith, he picks up 5. Marino exasperated. Next Sunday, ESPN Sunday Night Football. Lambeau Field in Green Bay is the site. Tampa Bay against Green Bay. Big NFC Central battle. And we go to the Meadowlands next week. The Jacksonville Jaguars and the New York Jets is the matchup on Monday Night Football. 2 weeks in a row we'll be at the Meadowlands. The following week it's Dallas and the Giants. Holasek. He had a big game in the wild card game here last year. 10 solo tackles. So he loves playing in Miami. 3rd down and 5 from the 14. Quarterback draw, and Flutie cannot get out of the grasp of Rich Owens. Big play.
And here's a guy that tonight is making a whole bunch of big plays. Rich Owens. one good thing about the Miami Dolphins is they have 7 defensive linemen on the active roster tonight, and Mitch Owens is certainly benefiting from the rotation that they have. He's come up with big play after big play, and hey, this is a huge win for the Miami Dolphin defense, holding the Buffalo Bills to 3 points here.
31-yard field goal attempt by Christie, 2 for 2 tonight. And he adds 3 more.
Well, if I'm Dan Marino, I'm taking the defense out for dinner tonight for keeping me close and giving me a chance.
Meanwhile, Buffalo has stretched its lead to 11, 23-12. A touchdown in the equivalent of 3 full games. And the kickoff is fielded at the 4-yard line by Brock Marion. And Marion breaks one. Marion into Buffalo territory. Chased down by the kicker Christie and by Loud, and he's finally tackled at the 4-yard line. Brock Marion, who used to run kicks back for Dallas, got the job back in Miami when they sent John Avery to Denver. He told Jimmy, he said, give me a chance, I can do it. And indeed, he's put him back in the game. 93 yards on the return.
Well, I will tell you that Sean Wooden, number 22, laid a heavy block on number 96, Dan Brandenburg, and just sent him flying. They gave the chance for Marion to get up, and then not only is Wooden blocking Brandenburg and knocking him down, he's also taking on number 21, Manny Martin. Give Brock Marion not only had a great run back, but seriously give credit to Sean Wooden for 2 monster blocks.
And Camille Loud, at least for the moment, saves the touchdown. Taking it to the 1-yard line is Cecil Collins, and he better hold on to the football. 2nd and goal.
Well, you know, give credit to the Miami Dolphin defense keeping them close, and then the special teams, and Wooden, who is a defensive player on the roster, just made an unbelievable block. I hope we have that on replay, Al.
2nd down and goal from the 1. Collins, nothing is there, and in fact, then he tries to make something out of it, and Kurt Schultz is there for another monster play. Schultz and Holisek and Northern, what a job they have done for Ted Cottrell's defensive unit.
Well, if you like defense in the NFL, you like seeing guys getting after it. Well, certainly you're seeing that tonight, and this is just being manhandled at the line of scrimmage. And it's down here, Al. It's about being lower than your opposing player. And right now, the Miami Dolphin offensive line was standing up, and they just got ran over that time by the defense of the Buffalo Bills.
3rd down and goal from the 9. 4-man rush. Marino throws, caught by McDuffie for the touchdown. Sooner or later, they had to convert a 3rd down. That's their first in 13 tries tonight.
Well, we've seen 2 quarterbacks battle tonight, get banged around, throw interceptions, be knocked down to the ground, and certainly both of them have competed hard. There's Doug Flutie, and have made big plays here in the 4th quarter to keep their teams in it and keep it close.
Now they go for 2 because you're down by 5, so that's what you have to do to get within 3.
Henry Jones, number 20, was playing so far inside that he had no chance to covering McDuffie.
Blown coverage, going for 2, Marino out of the gun. Ball spotted at the 2-yard line for the 2-point conversion, and they keep it on the ground, and they give it to the fullback Pritchett, and he doesn't get it.
Oh.
He got inside the 1 and no farther. And so they're still down by 5, and a field goal will not be enough now. They'll have to score a touchdown. But Marion sets it up, gets him back into the game. 5:13 left in regulation. 23-18, Buffalo. Kevin Williams ready to run the kickback. The Dolphins like to onside kick a lot. Buffalo fully aware of it, but not at this particular point. They tried it last year very early in the playoff game, you might recall. And it was a bad decision. Kevin Williams from the 2 brings it back to the 18-yard line. Tackled there by Sean Wooden.
Al, we talked about the block on the TD, on the long run by Brock Marion, but take a look at this. Here comes 96, Brandenburg. He's going to get lit up. Actually, he's right here. He's going to get lit up right there by Wooden, and that creates seams in the return holes. And when you're a special teams guy like that, you have to have your head on a swivel because you don't know where the blocks are coming from. And when you get knocked out of your lane, you create seams in the return lanes for the returners, and that's exactly what happened. That's why I was so effervescent about Sean Wooden and what he was doing. It's a terrific block.
Got him right back into the game. Wooden now in the secondary. Crowd on its feet. Flutie out of the vacant backfield with the receivers strung out left and right. He throws and is caught by Moles. And Eric is out of bounds up at the 27-yard line.
You talk about the stress and tension of playing in the NFL. Here's Doug Flutie and his offense. They just had a beautiful 80-yard drive. He completed 5 out of 6 passes. Touchdown. Miami comes back. You've been sitting on the sideline watching, and now you have to do it again. There's no rest.
2nd down and 1. Now we're inside 5 minutes, so that means when a player goes out of bounds, the clock does not get rewound. Had Mold stayed in that time, the clock would have kept going. But within 5 minutes of the end of the 4th quarter, it stops until the next snap. And on 2nd and 1, this is Smith, and it becomes very important right now because Buffalo needs to take some time off the clock. Miami has all 3 of its timeouts, plus the 2-minute warning remaining.
I think you'll see Doug be deliberate, but one of the things that Joe Pendry did on the first series was spread him out and put him in the shotgun. And to me, it seems like that's when he's his most effective as a quarterback because he gets to survey the whole field. He's not behind that big wall of offensive line. He can see the field a little bit better.
1st and 10 up at the 29. Flutie very smartly letting the play clock go all the way down, and then it's Antoine Smith up to the 34-yard line.
Well, he certainly knows what he's doing, Al, and you can see the poise coming through and the maturity, but one thing you don't want to do if you're Buffalo is just like go in a shell. You still have to throw the ball, you still have to make first downs, and you still have to move the chains.
You know, it's toward the end of the game when every time we take a shot at somebody on the sideline, they're looking up at the clock.
Right.
And for Marino, it inexorably ticks down right now. 3:44, 3:43, and going down and down and down. 2nd down and 5 from the 34. Flutie taking the play clock all the way down to 1. Smith. Nothing happening there. Stopped at the 33-yard line, and Johnson says, I'll take the timeout right here. Very critical 3rd down coming up. You notice that Jimmy wears the headset. Wade Phillips, one of the few in the league who does not wear a headset. Wade telling us last night, I'm just like Daddy. He said, you know, Daddy wore a cowboy hat. He couldn't put a headset on.
But he also said when he was a coordinator, he didn't want to hear other people in the headset. And he didn't want to be interrupted by a coach. I mean, he's truly one of the few head coaches that literally allow his coordinators to do their job. I mean, if you're an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator in this league, you have a job that you are assigned to do, and you should be allowed to do it. There's Carl Mock, their offensive line coach, and there's Joe Pendry, the offensive coordinator. Hey, do your job. That's what you get paid for. That's what your title's for, and certainly Wade Phillips can appreciate that. Well, I mean, this is a situation where you have to throw the football here. I would think that they'll put him in the shotgun. They'll put Doug in the shotgun, and Pendry probably just told him, look, do not try to force something. We can kick and we can punt the ball and we can play defense, but just don't force anything.
3rd down and 6. Dolphins waving. Jimmy Johnson waving his arms, telling the crowd, come on, get louder and louder. 3rd and 6. Flutie stepping out, tackled to the 35, shy of the 1st by Jerry Wilson.
And there's your speed on defense again, but a smart play by Doug Flutie. It keeps keeps the clock running, but now it forces Miami to take a timeout as well.
They take the timeout. They have one timeout plus the 2-minute warning, and for Marino, that's an eternity.
Right, and I'm sure that Pendry told Doug, look, our defense has done real well tonight. Let's not do anything stupid. Let's not give up field position. You know, let's play a little defense. Let's get a punt. You can see right here, they have him in the shotgun. He steps up. The nice thing is that he puts the ball away and he'll protect it. But you can see the speed of the defense. And they have guys all over the field on defense. Miami does, and so does Buffalo for that matter, that can run down guys anywhere on the field.
Chris Moore's 7th punt of the game with a line of scrimmage to 35. Buckley back to receive. Mike Westhoff, special teams coach. He watched Marion get this team back into the game with a 93-yard return. Bruce DeHaven, the Bills special team coach. Here they come, and Moore gets the kick away. Buckley calls for the fair catch and holds it in at the 33-yard line. 2:59 left. One timeout plus the 2-minute warning. Dan Marino, in his illustrious career, 45 times he's led a game-winning drive in the fourth quarter or overtime. A game-winning drive is one that puts a team ahead to stay. Elway finished his career second on the all-time list in that department with 40.
Well, this is where Ted Cottrell makes his money as the defensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills. You could not let Dan Marino sit back there without pressure. And if they're in a 2-minute drill, which they're going to be, and he'll be in the shotgun, that defensive line has got to get pressure if they're not going to blitz him.
Four-man rush. And then it's caught by Conrad, the fullback. Nice block, and Conrad is able to turn a 6-yard gain into about an 11-yard gain thanks to Stanley Pritchett. So they put the two big backs, Pritchett and Conrad, in the backfield together.
Now, this is the situation where now if the Buffalo defense doesn't force anything to happen, and Dan Marino sits back there with no pass rush, when you snap the ball back, the more time he has, the more separation these short receivers are going to have, and the more ability they're going to have, the better ability they're going to have to be able to make yards after the catch. You have to put pressure on the quarterback. You have to come after him.
First down at the 43-yard line. Marino pump faking, throwing, and that's incomplete. Intended for McDuffie. Covering on the play was Donovan Greer. 2nd and 10.
You can see that time they brought 6 guys. They want to make sure that Marino has somebody in his face. Make him make a decision quicker than he would like.
2nd and 10 from the 43-yard line. Marino tonight, 41 passes. There are the numbers, 22 complete. 60.1 is a low rating. 2nd down and 10. And Dan going deep and incomplete. The coverage is outstanding. Intended for Gadsden and blanketed by Irvin. Had him shadowed all the way.
Again, when they're one-on-one on the outside, you always think that you have a chance to make a big play, and this is where the defensive backs really have to stick to their receivers. They can't make a interference play. You can see Irvin staying right with Gadsden. He cuts him off. There's nothing wrong with that. He's got good position. What you're hoping for there, if you're an offensive player, is a pass interference, if not a reception. 3rd down, Boomer, and a monster play here. Otherwise, you wind up taking your timeouts on defense and going for a 4th and 10. Marino gunning it to the near side, up in the air and in and out of the hands of Aranda Gadsden. Jimmy, as always, wants the interference call on Manny Martin. Doesn't get it. So it's 4th down and 10. If you're Johnson now, 2 choices. 4th and 10 and you go for it. Or you punt and then you can stop the clock twice. Once at the 2-minute warning and once through a timeout. And they're going to go for it here. Well, the interesting thing now is what does Cottrell do as a defensive coordinator? Does he come after him or does he just sit back in his zone? And it looks to me from up here, he looks like he's going to bring 5 guys, maybe 6, to put the pressure on.
They run a stunt up front. Marino has to step out. By time. That's incomplete. Looking for a flag. No. O.J. McDuffie, the intended receiver, and Donovan Greer, their nickel back, in on a lot of key plays tonight, helping to break it up. And so Miami will now give the ball up in its own territory and be forced to use its one timeout on defense and get one more stoppage at the 2-minute warning.
You see the pressure by Hansen this time. They only had a 4-man rush, and if you can get Dan out of the pocket and make him throw on the run, you can make plays like this as a defense. And coming in tonight, Al, I talk so much about the Miami defense and how good they are, how quick they are, and the plays that they make, and they certainly have shown that tonight. But the Buffalo defense, I think, has made a statement tonight.
Absolutely. I think the Buffalo defense all of a sudden is a unit that's going to get a lot of acclaim. People now understand what they're doing in Buffalo, and it's not just Flutie, and it's not just their offense. It's a tremendous defense. And they've proven that 3 weeks in a row. And now Flutie gives the ball to Smith. Miami will take its final timeout here and then have one more stoppage at the 2-minute warning, and all it will take for Buffalo to run out the clock is 1 first down.
And there are people in this league that thought going into tonight that Miami had a real solid football team on both sides. They watched them Monday night against Denver. They knew that they beat the Arizona Cardinals. You see those two teams and what their records are, so you wonder how significant those victories were for this football team. Obviously, it's not the end of the world, but certainly when your division foe comes in and beats you at home, that's a significant statement by the Buffalo Bills right here.
Very big, because now you've got Miami out of the way on the road, and you get them at home. And now the Buffalo Bills can really begin to concentrate on their own division, because they go home. They'll play 2 out-of-division games at home, Pittsburgh and Oakland, and they go to Seattle, they go to Baltimore, they go to Washington, and then it really gets hot and heavy for them in the middle of November when Miami, the Jets, and New England form the base of their schedule in the month of November.
Now there's a whole bunch of guys up in Boston wondering right now, you know, is this team as good as it's showing tonight, especially on defense? And those guys are the New England Patriots, who are off to a great start, 4-0.
Second down and 8 now from the 41-yard line. Smith, and he gets taken down, and for the moment that's a game-saving tackle by Wooden. Otherwise, with a 2-minute warning coming up, that's the last time Miami can stop the clock, and Buffalo could have run it out. 2-minute warning in Miami, where the Bills are stunning the Dolphins 23-18. Boomer, after 4 weekends of play, if Miami loses this game, of the 31 teams, you've got 3 unbeaten teams. The dead and dormant Dallas Cowboys, according to some.
Right.
The New England Patriots, who only lost their top running back, Robert Edwards, to a perhaps career-ending injury in Hawaii last year. And the St. Louis Rams. Would you explain this to me?
Parity, my friend. Salary cap and parity. This is exactly what the NFL wants. Everybody should have a chance to win.
3rd and 6. Buffalo can, in effect, end the game if they convert here. And Flutie tries to draw Miami offside, and he may have drawn Robert Jones offside.
I don't know. 77 actually moved on the offensive line of the Buffalo Bills. Robert Hicks, it might be him. Question is, was he drawn offside by the movement of the defense? And that's exactly what Wade Phillips is screaming about.
Neutral zone infraction.
Yep.
Number 52, defense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
You can see Jimmy Johnson saying that number 77, Robert Hicks, moved on the ball, but it looks like Robert Jones actually moved before Hicks, and it forced Hicks. Take a look at the top of your screen up here. You can see him moving, and then number 77, Robert Hicks, moves. And in today's league, you cannot do that as a defensive player. That's considered drawing the other team offside.
And now that makes a 3rd and 6 into a 3rd and 1. Miami with no timeouts. Jonathan Linton is the sole setback. And it's Flutie on a roll, a la last year's win at Jacksonville. And in effect, that will end the game because they convert for the 1st down and they can run the clock out. Well, magic Flutie.
What a gutsy call that was.
Oh my! You know, that play that they ran up in Buffalo last year against Jacksonville, that similar type play, was a busted play.
Yep.
This obviously was a called play. You see something work one time, you draw it up and say, let's use our quarterback, let's use his ability to get outside, and look at the blocks downfield. Number 70, John Phoenix, just gets enough of Derek Rogers, number 59. And the other thing that you got to like about this, he slides, he stays in bounds, and keeps the clock running. Al, I mean,
and now only Herman Edwards could win the game for Miami.
The thing about it is that Buffalo came down here. They made a statement tonight. I think that this is a team that found itself after its tough opening loss to the Indianapolis Colts, who many people think of as one of the most improved teams in football. And now you have yourself a new top dog when it comes to a team that wants to make a statement.
And think about the unlikely sources tonight of the victory. John Holisick, a linebacker who gets so little attention and zero acclaim. Gabe Northern running it in for a touchdown.
Kurt Schultz all over the field tonight.
Absolutely.
Bruce Smith, the pass rush.
I mean, think about it. The Bills have just come in here, and on a night when Flutie doesn't complete 50% of his passes, when their running back Smith gains 36 yards on 12 carries, when Moles is shut out for most of the game, winds up with 4 catches for 60 yards, and Reed doesn't have a catch, they come into Miami and beat the Dolphins.